Evening all, it's Dragon Warriors time again, and we're continuing with Cold Fury into the second adventure, A Box of Old Bones, which is going to differ significantly from the written adventure, if you know that one, because I decided it needed some punching up a bit, and to be a bit more interesting, and a bit more quick off the mark, so... You've had a month of rest in Pheromane, going about your various deeds. Was there anything super important anyone needed to do in downtime that we haven't already discussed?
Nope.
Okay.
I'm just going to pick one of Mistress Adis's spells to have learned in that month. I'll get back to you in about a minute.
Okay. And Cesaro is going to try and score some potions. You could probably get hold of a... Because Pheromane's such a cosmopolitan and well-travelled city, and such a sort of centre for everything, you can probably get hold of some genuine potions. So let's...
Question: the spell Sword of Mars, is that something that can be cast and granted to another person to use, or is it a personal spell only?
Let me have a look at it.
It reads on the sheet as conjures a short sword, a gladius.
So that's only for you.
Only for me. Okay. Same then with Spear of Mars, I presume conjures a spear, can be hurled.
Yeah.
8. For 4 points. Shadow Bolt is 2d6 plus 10 versus 3d6. Speed 8. Speed is part of the attack factor as well, no?
Yeah. So they take their evasion off the speed, and that what remains is the chance to hit.
I'll take Fear of Mars. It's a spell expiry spell. It creates a 5-meter zone of magical attack, preventing living beings from approaching.
Okay. I shall...
And I'm all done. Thank you.
Cut and paste that in for you. Right, I'll do the rest of the bookkeeping later. You can make potions now, but not healing potions yet, so probably don't need to worry about that too much just yet. Okay. So yeah, you've had your month off. You've rested, relaxed, soothed your aching bones from your various combats and battles. And you've been called back to Albion to kind of do the rounds of a few of your holdings and so on there. Checking into the castle that you own, the steward is a little upset that he hasn't heard from Becca in a long time, because he has continued to send letters to your household in Ferromain, reporting on what's going on, but also sending personal letters. Apparently the poor fellow had developed something of a crush back in the day. And, well, it's up to you whether you want to tell him that she's moved on or not.
I think that's Sir Lane.
That's up to Sir Elaine, is it?
Well, if I was to say it, who's going to believe me? So.
Well, Elaine is busy with your Ferromain holdings, so there's not a lot he can do.
Well, who would be next in charge for this estate?
Question.
Mm-hmm.
I think it might be maybe better to handle this by finding the equivalent of Mrs. Patmore in our castle. Do you guys know the reference?
He does.
There's a British TV show, Downton Abbey.
Oh yeah, I don't watch that.
And there's a kitchen maid who discovers romance quite late in her life. She's a very innocent lass. There's also a Scottish headmistress or a head of household there. If we have a similar kind of steel-natured, elderly matron who's realistic about the world but classy about talking about it, perhaps we could have her maybe arrange for some kind of matchmaking for this besotted steward, so that his affections are gently eased away from Becca.
So we need a Yentl, basically.
Okay, I guess, yeah. Yentl, is that the word? It's a Jewish older anti-matchmaker, so we're a Yenta.
That just comes from me watching the Goldbergs too much.
Yeah, you could arrange to have Hector let down gently about what's happened, or to try and get his attentions snatched away by someone else.
You think say that you married Sir Doran. that was all like halting in his tracks.
Things seem to be fine in the castle. It's had a lot of repairs done. Baron Aldred's men are stationed there and still paying rent. It's a fairly lively little citadel now, and there's even a few peasants that have sort of drifted in and started to plant fields and build crofts up on the cliff tops to supply the castle and the soldiers that are there. So yeah, it may even develop into a little village or a little town. Your next port of call is going to be all the way north in Glissom, which is going to be a heck of a trip. A few of the visitors at the castle ask if they can come with you for protection and security, and one of them, an elderly pilgrim, comes to the group and asks, probably Abbas, he's probably the next ranking person, would you mind if on our journey north we made a detour? Only I wish to stop off in my pilgrimage at the Abbey of Osterlin. It's not too far off your track.
Of course not, Mike. You'd be more than happy to.
I wish to pay homage to the remains of Saint Giles, who it is said is interred there.
Certainly.
He's said to offer blessings to those who stop over and make offerings to the abbey. So that's my intent.
I shall certainly join you in your worship, my friend.
Mm-hmm. Right. Well, when you're ready, the other travellers are happy to come along with you. Though some of them are on foot, so it will slow you down a bit, but at least you'll be doing a good deed by providing some security for them. Though it seems that the local area, has become a lot more safe, a lot less dangerous since you came in and eradicated so many of the monsters and troublesome bandits, and less than good, shall we say, lords that were looking after the area beforehand. But since you've cleared everything out, it seems to be a lot safer and clearer. Though to your eyes, you could say that a little bit of the magic, a little bit of what made the land special around here, has also gone away, along with the goblins and the weird spectral knights and everything else. But it makes your trip rather dull and uneventful. Some of the travellers are only with you to the next town, where others join your little parade. More pilgrims for the most part, since word gets around that you're headed to Osterlin Abbey. They're not the best company. They're very devout. They have to stop and pray, seemingly every 5 minutes. They're no fun. They don't particularly partake of drink. They don't have any ribald or saucy tales to share around the campfires at night.
So they're dour and pious?
Yes, very dour, very pious, or at least pretending to be for the duration of the whole pilgrimage thing. Clearly they're repenting for something. It would be impolitic to ask what exactly. Let's see. Right, so after several days of this tedious travel with these pilgrims, the only one who shows any real life is the first one that asked you to accompany him. You arrive at Osterlin Abbey. It's a pretty small abbey, attached to a church, directly built off the southern side of the church, surrounded by a small wall into which several buildings are built. It's not really a defensive wall per se. They seem to rely on their faith to do that more than anything else. But it's sturdily built enough, somewhat primitive, somewhat humble, and yet for an abbey that's this popular and has such well-regarded remains, it seems a little disappointing almost. It lacks the grandeur of some of the churches on the mainland and in Ferromain that you've seen. There's a few monks tilling the gardens and tending to the orchard, which is out to one side of the wall. The church is the tallest part, but it doesn't even have a proper steeple. It's just a flat-roofed square steeple. The most elaborate construction is a conically topped, shorter tower attached to one end of the church. There's a few outbuildings, but really not a great deal to speak of. It's aided in its natural defence by a river, only a small one, but a river nonetheless, running across the southern frontispiece of the whole abbey. And there's a small, well-built stone bridge that goes over the river to the other side. There's also a large dew pond on the southern side, where they draw their water when the river runs dry, so it would seem.
So it's a
When you say-
downtrod abbey.
Sorry, what?
Okay.
It's a downtrod abbey then.
So it would seem.
You've used the term dew pond that I don't quite know of. Is that just like a natural spring that just bubbles up into a pond from down below?
It's a large pool that farmers dig that just collects water from the dew in the mornings. They're often
okay.
built next to rivers so that they can fill up when the river's high, and then they just retain the water.
Okay. Is Glissom the equivalent of Scotland in the game world?
Yes.
Or similar? Okay, it is. I'm having a look at the map of the game world, and Ellisland seems to be on maybe half the size of the actual British Isles or so. Is that right?
Yeah. Lots of small kingdoms kind of crammed together.
Okay.
My face will
Is the-
probably reflect some little disappointment at the less grandiose look of the place than I was expecting.
Ah,
Well, I suppose if we've been living on off the mainland for so long, you get used to elaborate churches of where have we been living? I forget now.
Pheromone.
Remain
Yeah.
the Italian architecture.
Yes.
we've been all over the place, Brother Abs. We've been everywhere.
What's the capital of Albion?
A. Didn't help that.
Oh, God. Oh, no. That's going to stop. That's gonna stop.
we approve of
Albion
puns.
is a country in Ellisland, I see here. Okay.
Yeah.
And you said we're going to Ostelin Abbey?
Yes.
Okay, so that's in Albion, isn't it? Not Glissom.
Yes, but you've got to travel all the way up north from the south.
Oh, yeah, to Albion, you mean?
Yeah. Well, yeah, from the south of Ellisland all the way
Or-
north to Glissom.
Okay, so we're going past Ostelin Abbey into Glissom itself then for these extra pilgrims, yes?
Yeah.
Okay, I
So
understand that a little better.
you're taking
Thank
a
you.
detour to be nice for the people who are traveling.
It's quite the detour, jeez.
Well, you were
Not
starting
all-
from the south
yeah.
anyway, so you've got a long way to go.
It's what we call the scenic route.
So, yeah.
Hmm. Okay.
I agree. Um,
You take the high road, and I'll take the road low, and I'll be in Glissom before you.
I bet you won't. I bet you won't. I bet you won't flow and you won't.
At least it wasn't Donald Wears Trousers.
Why?
When the wind blows high and the wind blows low. Oh, I used to sing
Right,
that
so
song.
you were at, if you can find a map of Albion, you were on the eastern shore, which is where Merkin's castle is, which is the castle you took over. So you'll be travelling due west to reach Ostelin Abbey, and then through Cornumbria, around the Pagan Mountains to get north to Glissom. So it's not actually that much out of your way, to be honest.
No, okay, so we go west to Aldred's Castle. And
Yeah,
I would presume Aldred's Castle links up with some roads or trade routes to Ostelin Abbey and then to Scardick.
yeah.
And it might make sense then if it isn't urgent for us in terms of time or so on. Is there anything we need to take maybe from Clyster or Aldred's Castle through to Ostelin and then Scardick and then further west to Criggan Varas? And then from Criggan Varas, perhaps we can hire a boat to go up to Glissom rather than
Yeah.
hike it, or unless we need to go up to Arawarn and through Arawarn.
Yeah, you could do that. Yeah, there's certainly plenty of opportunities for carrying goods or providing escort. Maybe take some gifts for Doron when you get up north.
Hmm.
But in any case, you have reached Ostelin Abbey.
Okay.
You have, at other times, heard travellers mention Ostelin Abbey. It's famous, renowned, for housing the bones of St. Giles the Martyr that are kept in a reliquary in the church there. The hospitality shown to wayfarers is scarcely less famous, and perhaps this is why, on your way there, on your way north to Glissom, it's been deemed worth a detour to visit the abbey. It's late in the afternoon as you approach. Sunlight sparkles off the river that provides the monks with drinking water and a plentiful supply of fish. A few peasants amongst the brothers in shabby rags wander in a line through the meadows. They've just collected pork and grain from the abbey's almonry. Lay brothers have been hard at work tending the fields, but now they're hurrying back for vespers. You're met at the gate by a slightly built monk who seems to be the guest master. Alas, my friends, we cannot take you in. Sir Notka of Balcom and his retinue currently occupy the larger of our guest houses, while the other must be kept ready for a group of pilgrims who'll be arriving shortly, and I don't think are yours. I'm sorry.
Who will these pilgrims be, brother?
I know, but we're expecting some other pilgrims. These aren't the ones. Begging your pardon. One of the other monks, an older one, meanders over. What are you saying, Geraldus? Would you have these good people sleep in the fields, with a cold wind coming down from the north and the clouds looking like storms? There's a few pallets in the lay brothers' dormitory we could put them up in. I'm sure. You're not too proud to sleep on a pallet, are you?
No, father, no.
Yeah.
Sheltered from the wind with a fire nearby, a pallet will do just fine.
One of the pilgrims says, it will be a just part of my penitence.
Is it normal in this world setting to make reservations when you at a monastery if you're going on pilgrimage?
Yes. In the same way you can buy indulgences and so on. The church bends quite a lot to people's money.
Okay, I have no reason to believe this monk is lying.
Sorry, you were crackling there. What was that?
So there's no reason to believe this monk is lying.
No. He seems to agree with the older monk and leads you and the other pilgrims off towards the lay brothers' dormitory.
Question.
Mm-hmm.
How are sorcerers viewed in this kind of setting, for example? Unless I'm, for example, affiliated with the church itself, am I viewed as just, like what one good speech away from being torched by angry villagers? Or
It's pretty close to heresy. They won't like you very much at all. They'll tolerate mystics, particularly if they're of the right religion.
Mhm.
Sorcerers basically get by associating themselves with nobility and merchant houses and chasing power in that sort of arena. But
so it would be akin then to being like for example, a quote heretic unquote like Galileo or a diehard atheist in before the Enlightenment. Like
Yeah.
I'd shut up about it unless I was in the right company.
or like Dr. D was Queen Elizabeth's sort of chief astrologer and cast the bones and so on for her, and so his oddities were tolerated because he was associated with royalty.
Okay, so then I would do best just to be completely hush hush and okay, thank you.
For the most
And
part.
And I imagine that goes just as much, if not more so, for a warlock.
Yeah, warlocks are possibly a little more tolerated. They occupy a status somewhat similar to witches, so monster hunters and so on. But basically, the rule is you need to attach yourself to power or make yourself indispensably useful if you're a magic wielder.
Gotcha.
Right, the lay brothers' dormitory is pretty modest, as you would hope and expect. It occupies the top floor of a building above their main storeroom, in which are laid all manner of supplies. Barrels of salted fish, salted pork, salted this, salted that, salted the other. They seem to not be especially short of salt for somewhere quite far inland. And also sacks of flour and grain and preserved vegetables, pickles, all that sort of thing. All very, very neatly organised by a wizened old monk who seems to know his way around there completely from memory. And sort of sweeps the floor as soon as you've come through and up the stairs. While it's pretty modest, all of the stonework, all of the tiling, all of the roof beams and everything are in a state of absolutely immaculate repair. And unusually it doesn't have a dirt floor, it has a terracotta tile floor. Sorry, go on.
Question. Would they have been financing these repairs through donations made by pilgrims?
Yes, almost certainly.
Yes. When you pointing out that they're in an absolute state, like they're in a fantastic state of repair, is there any appearance of ongoing work, as in maintenance in progress, or is it, like a Hollywood scene where like you got like angel-like chorus and you're like, oh, everything is wonderful and in full repair and remarkably pristine, or shows little sign of wear?
It all looks almost newly built. Everything is immaculately kept up.
Can the power of faith wield magic to allow for something like that to happen?
Relics might do it. The relics of saints can have restorative and reparative effects.
And is that something that Glissom is known or whispered about, or do they have just an unusual influx of cash somehow? Like, as a player, my senses are a little alert. Like, that seems a bit odd, given how everything is kind of shambly and shabby, and they should just be about breaking even, perhaps, unless they have a grossly wealthy benefactor.
Well, it's Osterlabe, Glissom's the country. So, I mean, they do have the remains of St. Giles the Martyr here. So okay. Everyone says, which are meant to be a powerful relic. Though it's not entirely clear exactly what effect the remains of the saint have, particularly. But it does mean that they will get a lot of pilgrims, and the pilgrims will bring with them a lot of money. So it kind of makes sense that the place is in good repair, but they don't seem to have spent any of the money on being ostentatious.
Okay, so everything seems kosher in that regard there. It's not as if it's a rundown little church that happens to have an interior of like amber and rosewood, and it's all okay. Thank you.
Yeah. So yeah, you're shown in by the younger thin monk. He indicates several pallets that you can use. You get the sense that you might be displacing some monks who will probably have to sleep in the barn or something, but yeah, they're offering hospitality. So
perhaps then we can make a generous donation to their coffers.
That would certainly be welcome. But this isn't the place to do it. You'll need to find someone to provide for that way.
After the evening meal, I'm presuming we would be expected to partake in the overall sense of community of the abbey. Yes.
Yes. Before the thin monk leaves, he says, "We're just about to have vespers for sunset, after which we shall be eating. You are, of course, all welcome to join us."
Thank you for the invitation. We'd be happy to. $150 florins are noted in a purse I have carried with me. Is that a vast amount of money? Roughly, what would that be in modern dollars or British pounds? 150 pounds, 1,500 pounds.
More like 1,500 or even 15,000. And then gold crowns are worth like 10 times as much. But it's hard to scale because things don't cost in the same sort of scale in this.
Would 50 of those crowns for us from the party be a decent donation?
That would be an extremely generous donation.
I'd like to offer that then at the appropriate time after the meal, or if one of the men folk should perhaps offer it instead of myself.
Yeah.
But we can mark it off my sheet. I'll make a note of that so we don't have to do the accounting right away.
Yep. Right. You hear the bell tolling to call the monks to prayer, and out of the slatted windows you can see them making their way to the church, which sits at the north of the abbey. So you're left pretty much alone for a while. The other pilgrims arrange their bedrolls and their packs and everything. Some of them change into their finer clothes to show respect to the abbey and the holy state in which they find themselves.
I suppose walking around with armor on is not appropriate here.
Yeah, you could take it off and just leave your brigandine on, but they're not going to be too fussed about it. Knights do fairly often stop off at abbeys and churches for blessings or just to check if the monks need anything. So it's not too unusual, but you might be happy to get out of your armor.
Well, that's true. Yeah, I'll just take I'll keep my sword, of course, but I'll change out of the heavy stuff.
Yeah. So you still got the sort of soft under armor, so that's still worth 1 armor.
Yeah. I don't think I can take a bow with me into the chapel.
Yeah, that might not.
Oh, but the whatever I have some kind of anti-mind control thing. I'm definitely going to keep that with me into the service.
Yeah. Let me find it. Oh, it's a wreath of shells. Yeah. Necklace of shells. Which makes you immune to mind control from a magic attack of 21 or less. So, essentially, for the most part, you're immune to mind control. Do you want to attend the prayers, or do you want to wait until after they finish their prayers?
Oh, I'll go. I'll just sit in the back.
Yeah.
I'll certainly attend.
This is
And as well.
yeah. This is in that category of showing face.
Yeah.
I just can't see my character as being particularly enthusiastic about this sort of thing. But you know, you social niceties.
Yeah, it's the right thing to do, and it may allay suspicion somewhat. It's the other way to look at it if you're a magic user. The monks' chanting is extremely well practiced, very formal bacchanal, and it has an extremely uplifting and beauteous quality to it. At the far end of the church, behind all the monks, up sort of directly in front of the altar, but down on the lower level, is the stone casement which must hold the remains of St. Giles. And as the monks finish their prayers, each of them steps forward and kisses the edge of the stone casket before moving through to the dining hall to eat.
Do the pilgrims follow suit?
Yes, the pilgrims joined the line of monks to pay their fealty to the remains of the saint.
All right. Well, when in Cyril.
Are you all going to follow suit?
Yep.
Yes,
The-
absolutely.
The edge of the casket has obviously been kissed so many times that it's actually worn the stone smooth in the middle and worn it in slightly. Brother Abbas, can you make a perception check, please?
Just a second. I'm being really lazy. I've got my dice roller on thing here as well. Perception. Failed. I rolled a 17.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. You kiss the stone. It's remarkably smooth, and after all these other people have been kissing it, it's actually weirdly warm. It's a little bit unsettling. The dining hall. It's kind of a smaller scale Hogwarts main hall, really. There's a whole bunch of big old oak tables, which are the legs are carved crudely to depict the lives of the saints, most notably St. Giles the Martyr. But that's really the only truly ostentatious thing to it. That's all fairly solid, reliable, good long-lasting, heavy oak furniture. But the food, on the other hand, the food is remarkably good. That seems to be where they've spent an awful lot of their money, and it helps explain their reputation for hospitality. There are roasted meats, pork, lamb, beef. They eat well. They eat like nobles here, and they're generous with it. There's as much as you want to eat. You can truly fill your bellies.
Question: isn't that kind of sinful in the context of their
Well,
in the context of them?
so long as you're eating what you're allowed to eat, it's not, and they probably excuse it to themselves by the fact that they're providing for the pilgrims as well as themselves. And it's not a fasting day or anything like that.
Is it very clearly then from their body language or the change in their? I'll try and just carefully observe them to see if this is something. Obviously, it would be look forward to if this is an indulgence, as it were, that they're allowed. But I wonder if any of them push it a little bit. Are any of the monks obese or a little weighty around the middle, or they work a lot of it off, or?
Some of them seem to be quite jolly, would be the diplomatic way of putting it. But the lower level brothers, the initiates, the novitiates, they're quite muscular from working in the fields and so on, and it's only the older and the higher ranking brothers that seem to have gotten a bit paunchy, except for the abbot, who is pretty sort of rail thin and only picks at his food.
Does he show any signs of perhaps a lingering illness or dyspeptic constitution? Does he wince a little bit or pain himself, or is he flatulent or gassy, or?
He just doesn't seem that interested in the food.
Okay.
Yeah. They do have an excellent perry for you to drink. Rather strong, very sweet, very nice. Their cider is almost as good.
Oh, what? Sorry, a perry.
A perry, yeah.
Never heard of that one.
It's pear cider.
Oh, right. Well, I'm partial to a nice pear cider.
Sounds a bit maybe like Hungarian or Bulgarian palinka, which is a pear brandy. Put you on the floor.
Oh, that sounds good.
They probably do make spirits as well, but yeah, they're not offering that.
Not yet.
Yeah. The meal ends with honey cakes and a prayer that mirrored the one before you ate to give thanks, and then the monks begin to disperse for their own personal prayers and meditations.
Where does the head abbot go?
The abbot heads back to the church.
I'll follow him.
Okay. What about the rest of you?
I would imagine I would be something of a distraction here, given the fact that I'm one of the few lady folk out and about. Yes, so I should probably retire to my chambers.
Well, to your pallet.
pallet, yes.
Yeah, I'll retire back to the dormitory, but not before having just a brief word with that pilgrim that we'd been escorting. I forget his name, but the main one who
But
brought
yeah,
us up in the
I don't
first
think
place.
I gave him a name, so
Call him Johann.
John the Grey.
Yeah, John. Well, I'll check in with John. Not that I have anything in particular to say, just some niceties and then be off, you know.
Yeah. No, he thanks you profusely and asks you to pass on thanks to the rest of your party for getting him here safely. He hasn't really opened up about why he made this journey, but he's here to offer the last of his money, of his worldly possessions, really, in offering to St. Giles the Martyr, in hopes that his sacrifice will get the saint to bless his farm and replenish the soil. So that turns out to be why he's here.
The last of his belongings.
His worldly possessions, his money, anyway.
Okay. Interesting. Do I get any... Well, I mean, that already sounds... How crazy is that in this setting? Because that actually sounds sort of reasonable given the setting.
Given the setting, it's somewhat reasonable.
Like if someone's has a particularly desperate farm, that doesn't sound such a long shot. You know,
No.
They have nothing to lose and they only have 2 gold coins to their name, or whatever. Yeah. All right. Well, I mean that seems normal enough. I'll retire to the dormitory. I'll escort our maiden back to her pallet, and then go to my own.
I'm
Sorry,
going to go back to the chapel and just soak in the ambience from.
All right, you and Caesura return to the church and the chapel. Caesura following the abbot, who, along with 2 other senior monks, has made his way there. A couple of younger brothers bring in a coffer, and the abbot and his 2 associates each produce a key for one of the 3 locks on the coffer, and they throw it open. And pilgrims and other visitors from the local towns and villages start to leave offerings and to crouch in prayer in front of the ossuary to ask the saint to intercede on their behalf.
I'm going to join the queue of pilgrims
Okay.
for the ossuary, and I'll make a donation of 10 florins.
Not as much as your sorceress friend, but still quite a lot of money for this time and this place. So you make your offering and crouch in prayer. Can you make another perception roll, please?
I join the queue as well, Grim.
Okay.
Older 7s, yeah, under 11.
Okay.
Made it this time.
Right, so you make it to the front of the queue, make your offering, and kneel. Caesura's next behind you. And as you sort of crouch in prayer and let the ambience of the place wash over you, you realise something. You realise that there is no sense of magic, no sense of a holy aura coming from the ossuary. Now, you've handled the remains of saints. You've handled reliquaries. I think you have one on you.
Yes, I do, yes.
Yeah. So you know what this is meant to feel like, particularly to your sort of enhanced mystic senses. And you are picking up absolutely nothing from this sarcophagus.
I'll once I've finished giving my contribution and the reliquary, I'll go back, head towards the back where Caesarus sat.
Several other pilgrims, you take it these are the ones from the other party that they talked about that were occupying the guest rooms, have also turned up. to make their offerings. A handful of knights, a man in a long cloak with a black hat, a woman dressed in the habit of a nun, or possibly a widow's garments. It's kind of hard to tell without approaching a lot more closely. But yes, they have all approached to make their offerings after Caesura. What is Caesura doing when he reaches the front?
I'll take the knee, cross myself, say, bless thee, Father, thank you for thy meal, thank you for thy drink, thank you for your hospitality, and allow me to donate to your coffers. And I will give the crushed elven the elven tiara, which is no longer used to me.
Yeah.
The elven waist chain, I'll donate that. The golden apple core, which is worth 500 crowns, donate that.
Mm-hmm.
And then I'll donate 50 crowns, stand up, cross myself, nod, and then work my way to Brother Abbas.
Okay. So you're basically paying ahead for all the horrible things you're going to do soon.
Yes.
Right.
So it's called Foreseen the Future. Thou shalt sin and get away with it again and again and again.
Right. So you settle in next to Brother Abbas in the pews.
Yeah. What's up, Brother Abbas? It looks like you've seen a ghost.
I wish I could say I've felt a ghost, but I haven't. I can't sense any holy or mystical or even magical aura in this place. We've been to that many locations, we've encountered that many different creatures, spirits, ancient gods, what have you. I'm very familiar with how these things feel when we encounter them, and I have not felt any sense of magic about this place at all. There's nothing coming from that casket. There's no holy aura. I'm sensing anything like that. It literally just sounds like they have some poor soul skeleton in a box, and it's just blind faith alone. It's not natural. It doesn't contain any magical aura to it.
So what you're saying is that you get no buzz, you get no feedback.
Exactly. No sense of anything.
Maybe they've moved the bones to a safer location in the abbey. We've got that.
Possibly, but I should still get some vague sense, I think.
Yeah, you should. I agree with you, brother. I agree with you.
I should, a little tingle in the back of my mind, at least.
Yeah,
the old magical sense.
Yeah. I know where you're coming from, brother. I know where you're coming from. Yeah, that is a strange one. I'm not a man of my cloth myself, but I do donate once in a while if I'm in the neighbourhood.
I just think what you've donated might have been a bit overly much, considering that I don't think it's going to do you a jot of good, my son.
Well, the thing is, Brother Abbas, I admit I fought in the Crusades. I did a lot of bad things during the Crusades. But since I've teamed up with you guys, I class you guys as family. And at the same time, I've always said, look after thy own as you would look after thyself. And as I said, I come to these places once a blue moon just to cleanse myself. But you've raised a good point. I'm not going to bring it up, but because it's not, I'm not off the order, but maybe you could get one of them to one side and have a little quiet word, brother to brother,
It's possible that they might have had the bones of the saint, but they could have been stolen and they don't want anyone to know about it. That's another possibility.
They seem to, as I said, put them elsewhere for safekeeping, because this St. Giles character, he sounds like he was a holy man. Now, if you have these bones on display, everyone will be wanting to have either a piece of it as a relic for themselves to give them good fortune, and basically, in order to keep the masses to a minimum, they've got to put them either in a safe place or put them elsewhere. But you have raised up a good point. And that's what I'm saying. Speak to one of your fellow friars and see if you can get a little bit of think we've got some of that Italian. I've got some of that Italian brandy in my pony. I think some, if it would help. Smile.
What, loosen the tongues up?
Loosen tongues. Yeah, exactly. See if it's a. What's it? Is it not Fermi? Is it Fermi? No, the language we've just picked up in where our merchant friend is. What is it?
That's Fermain, but I can't remember what the language is called. It's the Italian equivalent.
It's not for a
No.
Just say it's a Fermanian Benedictine tonic. Smile.
Good for what ails you.
Yeah. So basically, as I say, get one of the younger guys away, not one of the old ones, because the old ones will give you a stern look at. But get one of the younger ones and sort of loosen his lip a bit with a bit of this Fermain brandy and see if you can get some info, some feedback. Yeah.
And behold, the background doth change.
Yes.
Well, I'll go and get this. I'll go and get this brandy, and I'll catch up with you, and I'll watch from the shadows. So I'll watch your back way. How's that sound, brother?
Yeah, but it's a sound plan, my friend. But the only thing is, if one of the younger ones doesn't know diddly squat, we might need more of a senior member of the church here. But we can work away from the bottom. Certainly, that's probably a good idea.
Yeah, because the thing is if you work from the bottom up, sorry?
I said, I know I'm not here, but you could always send a layered message. You know, like you could say something, I can already think of a few things, but you could say something that a junior brother would not pick up the obvious meaning, but if you repeated it to a senior brother that he would. Something to the effect of, I feel like I've lost my faith and I'd like to talk to somebody who, has struggled with losing theirs.
Or you could ask for a private confession. Yeah, that's good, yeah. Never thought of that.
I could also try a little bit of ESP. I've yet to use that skill.
Yep, that could be useful. But as I said, I'll watch you from the shadows if you want security, just to be on the safe side.
Okay.
Right, I'll go to my pony Grim, get some of this Fermain brandy malarkey.
Yep.
And catch up with Brother Abbas.
I'll wait. I'll wait for the congregation to quieten down and disperse a little bit.
Well, the sunset, the evening meal has been had, so pretty much everyone's headed off to bed now.
I'll try and attract the attention of one of the younger monks. Brother Paul.
Well,
George Ringo or John.
You managed to attract the attention of Brother Geraldus, who was the one who met you at the entrance, the younger monk, the thin one. Yes, can I help you, brother? I trust the meal was to your satisfaction.
Oh, one of the finest meals I've eaten in a long time. Thank you. It makes a nice change from the food we've been having in Fermain. I'm all for foreign foods, but grapes get a bit boring after a while.
There's such a thing as too foreign, I'm sure.
Yes, there is. And don't get me started on this bread they put garlic on.
Heresy, I'm sure.
Yes. Food crime, I believe. I just wanted to have a little chat with somebody about, the history of the church, really, here.
Oh, well, I'm not that knowledgeable, really. The older monk who met you at the gate, Brother Eowyn, he should be able to inform you better.
And where might I find him?
Let me find him for you.
Thank you.
He darts off and then returns a short while later with a grumbling Brother Eowyn. What is it? I know we're hospitable to people, but honestly, I was just trying to get my tired bones to bed. And grumble, grumble, grumble. Brother something, wasn't it?
Abbas.
Yes.
I just had a few questions about the church here. That was all, sir. I just wondered, how long have you had the bones of the saint interred here?
Oh, since before I joined the abbey, so many years.
And do you know who it was initially brought the bones here, or is that lost knowledge these days?
Well, when the Salentine Empire was retreating from its outermost borders, and they were cracking down on the true faith, trying to hold their empire together before they changed their minds about the whole thing, a band of brave, faithful pilgrims brought the bones here to inter them safely, far from any possible repercussions from the Salentine Empire. That's the story, at any rate.
And to your knowledge, they've never been moved away from here either.
No, there was one brief period when we thought the abbey was going to be attacked by marauding barbarians from the northeast, but fortunately they never made it this far inland. We've been remarkably untouched by the machinations of various nobles and kings and barbarians and plagues. We put it all down to St. Giles, of course.
Oh, that's fantastic. And is it only the abbot himself that's allowed to see the bones in person?
Oh, nobody is allowed to see the bones in person.
Okay. Fair enough. Oh, thank you for your time, brother.
Should the need arise, it is only the abbot.
It's a shame my friend isn't back. We could have offered you a little nightcap. He was coming back with some pheromone brandy, but it appears to have been waylaid.
By the brandy, no doubt.
Possibly, yes.
Well, save me a dram.
I shall, as long as he hasn't drunk it all when I get back. Thank you, brother. Good night.
Good night.
I'll make my way back to the sleeping quarters where we're staying.
Okay. When you head outside, most of the lights are out. There's only a couple of external lanterns sort of guttering the last of their fuel. The moon is just a tiny crescent in the sky, and this far away from other settlements you get a glorious view of the heavens. Though those dark clouds the monk mentioned earlier occasionally blot it out, and seem to be blotting it out with increasing frequency, and the wind is starting to pick up. But then you can get back to the dorm with everybody else.
Okay.
And the brandy, and Cesora.
Well, my friends, I'm not sure if Cesare's filled you in on what I felt when I went back into the chapel. Excuse me. I just need to cough.
A sense of peace and comfort and holiness?
A sense of nothing. In our adventures, we've encountered dead kings of bygone eras, gods, water realms, and all sorts of spirits and creatures. And God, and the gods help me, golems and things made of stone that thwack me like a fly against a wall. But I'm very familiar with how things feel, being a mystic, and I could not get the slightest sense of anything holy, magical, or otherwise from in that chapel at all.
Behave, you two.
Yes. They were going at it. I just want to make sure. I don't know if you can see it. They're playing.
Yeah. Boop. Boop.
The cat's almost 6 kilos and the dog is about 8.5. So it's changed quite a bit from when he was a kitten. Look, he's not even a year old yet. Look at him go. Ah.
Everything stops for cats.
Very nice.
That does look like play fighting rather than anything serious.
Oh, yes. They love each other.
Is your dog a puppy, John? I take it.
No, he's about 6 years old. His name is
right.
Banzi, Banzi. He came with that name.
What breed is he?
We were told he's probably a mix of Maltese and Terrier. He's originally from Texas.
Oh, right.
and we've only had him about a year. This June, just last month was his 1 year anniversary. He's about 6 years old now,
Fine.
and and the cat we got last year in December from the Humane Society because Banzi expressed extreme interest in all the critters he saw outside, every cat in our neighborhood. So we took a chance, and the cat. He's a mackerel tabby as far as we know, but I think he's got a bit of wild in him, something or other, because he's very curious about water. He has a very, very sleek fur. He doesn't shed at all. He's very vocal, lots of little meow noises, right? Always flops down and shows his belly. His tail is a huge cord of muscle extruding from his body. And his name is Bingo.
Sounds like Grim on a Saturday night, Sunday morning.
It's
All
so
right.
funny. Sorry.
Pet breakover, unless hostilities break out. Right. So yes, Brother Abbas senses nothing holy from where the bones are supposed to be.
And I've just talked with one of the elder brothers, and he has said that, as far as he knows, the bones have been interred here for as long as they have been interred here. They've never been moved, so it's not a case of they've ever been stolen or taken away from the site. So the only thing I can suggest, which is probably, if I said it to another fellow of the faith, especially in this church, would probably get me excommunicated, is the bones that are there are not what they appear to be, or they don't have any holy power in them. There's nothing special about them, in a nutshell.
I take it you are having this conversation in hushed tones where the other pilgrims can't hear, right? Yeah.
Yes. I'm not going to come in, get a glass of brandy down me and start shouting this for all the world to hear.
Yeah, you're not gonna piss in their cornflakes.
No.
Perhaps we could go for a stroll and have a bit of a chinwag with our mates outside under the stars.
Well, from what I just seen outside, it is a beautiful night. You can practically see the heavens.
Yep. When you do head out, it's a bit windy, which is actually quite nice given the summer heat. You can have a little walk through the orchard, where their pear and apple trees grow. They're all sort of in their sort of minor growth, so what looks like miniature apples and pears are hanging on all the trees. It's extremely well tended, but the trees and the wall give you a bit of shelter from the worst bite of the wind, and a bit of cover for your conversation.
Oops. He's become very vocal. I was going to say something, but I need to wait. Should we really be too concerned as lay people that there's no holy aura coming from the bones, or whoops? Or do you think there's some other form of occult power or magic at work here that perhaps might not belong?
If I could sense anything amiss, I think I would have sensed it when I was in the chapel. It's just not giving off any aura at all I can read that I've ever encountered. It's just, there's nothing there at all. Be it magical, mystical, or otherwise. It might just be a case of their faith is misplaced. Whatever bones are in that casket are not holy. It might just be some poor bastard, pardon my French, but some poor bastard that got interred there, and it's not the saint at all. Or if it is the saint, he was not a holy enough man to have warranted worship, and therefore there's no nascent magical spirit in the bones.
Well, they themselves may not be magical, but the spirit of brotherhood and community and charity and worship and fellowship and other things here that have been cultivated over the years have taken real root. while we're out here under the stars and whatnot, I think I will just retire a few feet away from the rest of us, and I'll cast my mind upon the matter and see if any of the spirits nearby are willing to have a bit of parley with me, and I'll see if I can learn anything from them.
Okay. Spend the magic points.
I will.
And which spell is it?
It's a level 5 spell titled Divination.
Yeah. Okay. Set that up. Okay.
I think I may have kind of overused it last time. I'm reading it more carefully. It says ask a question of the spirits.
Yeah.
So it's not 1 minute as many questions as I can get in. So a spirit. Okay.
I think we're getting a feedback of somebody.
Yeah.
Whistling or something.
John, can you just unmute but not say anything for a sec?
I'm now unmuted. I won't say anything.
Yeah, I think it's you we're getting this weird feedback from. It's dying away, though. Oh, well. We'll see how it goes.
Is it still there? Was it there
Yeah,
before?
it's still there.
Oh.
Don't know if you've got a phone or anything near to the mic, or...
Almost sounded like a bird.
Oh, he's gone. Hopefully he'll be back. So polished and professional, my streams.
At least we've all got our clothes on, yeah?
Can anyone hear me?
Yes,
Yep.
and we don't hear the shriek anymore.
Okay, I think the camera I have, it's a Logitech HD camera. I think it has an audio pickup as well, and I've turned off the camera. At least it's not turned on to the channel.
Okay. Yeah, I've got one of those as well, Logitech ones. They do have a actually not bad inbuilt mic. Anyway, right. So you want to ask the spirits. What is your question?
The question is. Let me think. Is there?
What is
I need another word
7 times 8?
for trouble. Is there a matter? Is there a trouble? Is there not an obstacle? Is there a challenge? Not challenge. What's the word I want to use? Is there a supernatural trial or threat here that we might be suited to resolve?
Okay. You focus your magic. You call out to whatever local spirits might be in place here. And as you do that, you're struck by a vision. The ground seems to shift beneath your feet. And rotting arms reach up out of the soil to grab at you and pull you down. You stare in horror down at your feet as the soil ruptures like a splitting fruit, and the rotting face that's still recognisable as the abbot lifts up out of the dirt towards you, and then the vision fades.
Okay, I'll spend a moment and gather myself and pull my wits about me and return to my compatriots standing in a nearby stand of trees, I would presume.
Yep.
My face would almost certainly be pale and drawn, my lips pressed together in a thin line of concern and worry, eyes crowed. I was given a vision, and in it I saw the abbot's dead form reach out of the ground at me in an entreaty or some reach for assistance and aid. And I suspect that whoever is in there as the abbot is merely wearing the abbot's form. There's something here that we should probably deal with. The abbot's either been replaced or taken over or co-opted or otherwise corrupted or is in the thrall of some other force. And I suspect the real abbot is dead, and what we see there is I'm not sure what. In this world, are there stories of changelings and other creatures like that take over?
Yeah.
Okay. Could be a changeling. It could be a demon in human guise. It could be a sorcerer wearing some sort of ensorcelled, flesh cloak. We should perhaps find a reason to tarry near here. I could very easily brew up a couple of, cordials that would give a few of us some pretty nasty diarrhea and tummy aches that would be convincing. Or some of you could just act. We should probably linger.
If I got close enough, I could try splashing it with a bit of holy water, see what happens.
I think that's a fantastic idea.
I do have a flask of it, and I have the chalice as well. So we do have a never-ending supply.
Perhaps we can make it appear as if we're heading out tomorrow, and one or two of us could just complain of the runs. I'll give you some crowns. I was going to donate to the abbey on our behalf, but perhaps you could carry forth.
Well, myself and Cesar, I think, have already. Well, Cesar certainly has donated a significant sum from what I saw. Or myself, I donated 10 florins.
I was going to donate a sum of 50. Where's the currency here? 50 florins. Yeah. Yes, but if we've already made a donation,
I think Cesar covered that, and then.
Oh, okay. Then perhaps if you could find some other reason to speak with the abbot, we could then maybe have you test your little splashy idea.
Cesar, have you got that? Have you got a spare empty bottle of that brandy?
Yeah, sure.
So I'm thinking we could put the holy water in there and make it like we're giving him a drink of brandy.
Yeah.
If he swallows it, something bad happens. Unless he's just a normal human and he chokes on water. Don't give the GM ideas.
No. I'm not going to poison him. It's not my job.
I mean, I'm thinking if it's a stained bottle, he's not going to know what the colour of the liquid is inside it. If it's like a green bottle.
Question: You talked about sharing a dram with him. Couldn't you water it down with a bit of holy water?
It wasn't him. It was with another brother. But
okay.
I could conceivably, taste the well-being of the church.
It's your brother from another mother church.
My brother from another abbot.
Yes.
Old abbots die hard. Yep. Yeah, I've got another flask for you. Yeah, sure, no problem. Don't see why not.
Okay.
You'll probably have to wait till tomorrow.
Yeah.
To get an audience with the abbot. But there's no reason why you can't stay another day. The other pilgrims will probably be happy to stay another day and get another slap-up feed.
Yep.
Okay. You pass a reasonably comfortable night. You're woken at the crack of dawn by the bells for the morning prayers. A couple of the brothers, the greeting brother, Geraldus in particular, apologises to you, but the guest house is still going to be occupied for another day or two, so he's afraid you'll have to stay on the pallets. But it was perfectly comfortable. You've slept in worse, certainly.
I don't know.
But yes, you can join in the prayers, or break your fast with the brothers, or just wander around, whatever it is you want to do, until their duties allow for one of you or more of you to go and talk to the abbot.
Does the abbot join everyone in the morning meal?
Yes, he does.
Okay, so would it be a sign of respect for one of us to serve him? Because we're very clearly of a higher social class than he is. Would it be considered appropriate for one of us to maybe humble ourselves in an act of piety by serving him, or washing his feet, for example, or something like that?
It would make him seem less pious, so probably not.
Okay.
But yes, once the morning prayers and the breakfast is had, the monks go off to set about their work, whether copying scripture in the scriptorium, or working in the gardens or the fields or the orchard, or cleaning up or whatever else. And yeah, you're free to go and approach the abbot should you so wish.
Yeah, well, before I set out to talk to him, I'll take the bottle of brandy and, well, yeah,
Yep.
water it down a bit with some of the holy water.
Is it just you going to see the abbot?
Unless anyone wants to come with me.
I'll come with.
Okay.
I think, yeah, having one escort or a compatriot nearby is wise, because if he is indeed something supernatural in human form, it may present a dire threat.
Yeah. Always could use a bit of muscle. Well, we have muscle and magic with a warlock, don't we, essentially?
Yes.
Best of both worlds.
Right. So the abbot's house is actually a separate little bit, one of the few separate buildings from the main body of the abbey. It's still a fairly humble building, but it is quite well built, same as everything else here. There don't seem to be any guards or anything, so you're free to just stroll straight up to it.
Okay. Is there a door or?
Yes, there's. You'll have to stoop slightly. It's quite a small door, but it's heavy oak and bound with iron.
I'm not used to going up to doors and doing make a vibe check. I'll politely knock on the door.
Okay. It takes a moment, but the abbot opens the door and peers out at you. Ah, the visiting brother. How can we help you?
Greetings, Abbot. I just wanted to personally thank you for yours and the other brother's hospitality for mine and my compatriots, and just wished if you wanted to share with me a glass of this very fine pheromone brandy we brought with us on our travels before we depart the abbey.
It's very generous of you, but would it be too indulgent of me to take it, or would it be too rude of me not to take it? Perplexing. I think I'll need a drink to figure that one out. Do come in.
Thank you.
Right, while the exterior is well made but modest, the interior of the abbot's abode is actually quite resplendent. It seems that the abbot has chosen to spend some of the money in building up the abbot's house to be very comfortable. There are thick, warm rugs on the floors, fine hangings, tapestries on the walls of the few modest rooms. He takes you through into a room that's maybe a study or a library or wherever he seems to do his main work. There are very fine calligraphic supplies in here, a stout desk with an inlaid top, a few quite finely wrought chairs, and a modest bookcase but with very fine books with very fine leather covers. There are two other people in here as well. One of the knights, who's the other from the other group of pilgrims, and the nun who was travelling with him. They both stand as you come in and give you a slight bow because there isn't that much room.
I'll bow in return.
This is Brother Abbas. And I'm sorry, I didn't get your name, sir.
Yannick, Slavic.
Ah, come from far away, I see. The abbot shufties his way around behind the desk and sits down. And the other two also sit. Actually, the knight stays standing and offers his seat to Brother Abbas. Brother, please, take my chair.
Oh, thank you, Sir Knight. Very kind of you.
We were just discussing the needs of the abbey, but we can take a break. The abbot gets several goblets out.
I'll start pouring out the brandy then.
To St. Giles and the continued prosperity and safety of the abbey.
St. Giles.
And everyone takes a sip. Quite fine, but a little weak.
Yes, I see what you mean, brother. It's we might have been given a bad bottle there. I apologise.
Oh no, it's fine. I often have to water my spirits as it is. They go straight to my head, unfortunately.
I know the feeling.
Still, I'd track down the merchant.
Certainly.
Well, we'll just have to have twice as much to make up for it.
Absolutely.
Are you staying another night?
I've yet to discuss it with my companions, but possibly yes. I think the pilgrims that came with us would like to stop another evening before we depart.
The knight offers. Perhaps you should like to take the night tonight in the guest house, then, rather than the more common lodgings that you're currently in.
Oh, me and my friends are used to the hardship of the road, Sir Knight. Thank you for the kind offer.
Still, it feels rude of us to just take the space and not offer it to you. Surely you'd like a proper bed.
I could use a rock for pillow sometimes, Sir Knight. I'm not that particular in the finer things in life.
But why do so when you needn't?
True.
Well, if you decide you want to use the guest house, do let us know.
Thank you.
Was there anything else, brother?
No. Thank you very much for your hospitality. I will let you know if we do decide to stay up the night, and if we decide to take you up on a generous offer, Sir Knight. Thank you.
Notka, Sir Notka.
Thank you, Sir Notka.
And this is Marianne.
My lady. Your servant.
She inclines her head slightly, though she hasn't said very much at all. Can you make a perception check, please?
This is all getting very chummy, isn't it? Oh, I rolled a 1.
Nice. Throughout the entire conversation with the abbot, even when he was making little jokes and japes and jests and bonhomie and all that, his expression barely changed, if at all. It's just as if his face was a mask. I mean, the mouth moved, made the words, but the emotion did not show on his face at all.
So he was just sort of placid throughout, basically.
Yeah, a poker face throughout the whole thing. Yeah.
Well, I shall leave you to your meeting. My friend and I shall retire back to our rooms. Thank you.
Please continue to enjoy our hospitality for as long as you wish. Your friend was most generous.
Thank you. Good day.
Good day.
And we'll leave and go back to the others.
Okay. So you meet back up again?
Yeah. Well, I'll take it there'll still be other pilgrims in the bunkhouse, whatever. To.
Yeah.
Well, I'll signal to them. I'll go outside to meet me outside.
Yeah. So you can,
somewhere secluded.
You can meet again in the orchard. There's not really any work going on there at the moment, at least until harvest, probably. So it's one of the more secluded and private areas.
Well, my friends, nothing really happened with the holy water. Didn't get any reaction from the abbot. There was also a knight and a lady there that were having a meeting with him. However, I did notice during the entire conversation when the abbot was talking to us, he made all the right words and everything, but his expression never changed. It was like he was wearing an actual mask. He made niceties and conversation and jokes, but his expression never changed once in the entirety of the conversation.
So this is confirmation of what the spirits have indicated.
Yes. But I don't have any indication of to what he is, if he is anything at all.
So,
I shall have to... Go ahead, I'm sorry, Jared.
I'm sorry. So maybe this means it's not so much that the abbot was a source of trouble, so much as that he's in trouble.
I shall have to try to examine his aura the next time we are all together, perhaps during the evening meal. Unless, of course... Well, unless another opportunity comes up.
Can I just ask, Grim, is his detect aura, it's different from my sea enchantment thing, isn't it?
It can give a little bit more information.
Yeah.
Basically.
I mean, if there was anything in that room that was very obvious to that ability, mine would have seen. I'd have seen it.
Anything magical that your ability would have picked up. Let me just check.
That's more like magic weapons and things like that.
Yeah.
Really. It's nothing to do with like person's auras, though, is it really?
It can be if they've got enchantments on them or they're innately magical. So Sir Notka, he was wearing something around his neck that had a faint magical aura.
Right.
The woman didn't. But you felt a sort of mystic resonance from her, similar to your own.
Right.
The abbot seemed to have some kind of magical amulet around his neck. And that's... Oh, and one of the books in his bookshelf had an unsettling aura to it.
Okay. So I'm not really detecting any like big horrible that's a big gribbly monster in human form sort of a feel to anything really, am I?
No. The abbot did have like some sort of magical resonance to him, like he was enchanted or protected, as well as the amulet.
We appear to have lost somebody.
Yeah, looks like Jason's got to go and babysit for his son. So, sort of out of the blue. So that's all right. I have a way I can temporarily write him out. So
he got drunk on the brandy, didn't he?
Yes.
Passed out for 2 days.
Well, I mean, I could sneak in somewhere. I could go check out that book. That's a little risky, but I could do it. Or go eavesdrop on that group of suspicious nobles. That might be doable as well.
Yeah. I mean, the abbot will leave his house for the various prayers, which will give you a window of opportunity to try and break in. The nobles, or you can kind of eavesdrop on them at the meal or try and follow them.
What do you think is a better option, folks?
I would. Is there any way, perhaps, as a similar man of arms, for you to chum up a bit with Sir Nordic? Notker. Sorry, Nordic. I called him Jesus. Notker. And I might accompany you, perhaps, and I could chat with his lady companion about a few things just to get a sense. Perhaps they are also here. Either three options I see: they're in cahoots with him, they're onto him, or they're just oblivious and have stopped by and gone through all the normal social forms. And I guess when Caesora returns, he might be able to skulk about the reliquary. Perhaps we could create a distraction out in one of the fields or so on. Maybe a fire or some, I'll let someone else maybe come up with that so that he has a perfect opportunity to go poking about. Yes, no, maybe?
As long as as long as it making the distraction doesn't backfire, Because if we get ourselves kicked out of this place, that's sort of against our interests.
Yes. Let's see if I can do anything here. I think I have an illusion spell. Let me check here.
I think there's minor illusion at level 1. I'm not sure where the greater illusions are.
Rank 3 illusion creates an illusion up to 2 meters cubed in size. Can be used to disguise others. So let me check how long that lasts. I might be able to disguise Caesora as a brother.
Well, because Jason's had to go, I have said I can NPC Caesora if needed, but it's better not to if at all possible.
I thought he was just dropped off temporarily, but okay, if he's not here, then he's otherwise indisposed. So, oh my then. You know what? I'm going to take shotgun and let you guys decide what to do.
Well, I think disguising as a brother is probably a better option than creating a fire.
I mean, I do have something I could use on myself called Pass Unseen, which sort of makes me invisible up to a point. I can walk past people and they'll not even notice me. It's not as good as invisibility, but
it's still solid. I mean, I think, and I have a spell which gives me +2 to stealth and camouflage, right? And allows me to, I guess, make stealth rolls without penalty if there's no cover. The thing is, all I'm saying about the distraction is you don't want to leave something behind to investigate that someone can cast detect magic on and know spellcasters we're using magic, because that will get traced back to us really quickly.
Yeah.
That's kind of the double-edged sword with using magic for any kind of subterfuge, is that you end up leaving a residue. That's how things work in the system.
Plus, I've sort of detected from the lady there is some sort of similar aura to my own of her, so she could potentially be a mystic as well.
Yeah, so I kind of think that, generally speaking, I mean, disguising yourself as another person or just passing unseen, once the deed is done, then you're not really leaving much to look for, especially if you're not taking anything,
Yeah.
As long as you don't trigger. All I'm saying is it's particularly the distraction element should be done mundanely. If there is one at all. but whatever is used as a distraction has to be something that also offers a ready explanation, so it doesn't, so no one investigates any further.
I mean, the prayers will provide a distraction anyway, because all the brothers will be busy.
Well, that's true, yeah.
So...
That's true. Yeah, that's true. Then all you have to do then is just talk to the abbot after the prayers and just sort of get him to linger a little bit longer in case whatever I'm doing takes longer or whatever we're doing takes longer.
Yeah. Okay, so Yannick's going to try and break into the abbot's house to have a proper snoop around. During prayers, Brother Abbas is probably the best one to distract the abbot by sort of intercepting him and maybe having some discussion about some particulars of particulars of the faith, particular interpretations.
I could talk to him about the reliquary I've got, maybe, or something like that.
Yeah. And then Keridon could be free to hang about and sort of eavesdrop on the other party.
The other party being the lady accompanying...
Yeah, the lady accompanying the knights and the cloaked man.
There was a cloaked man as well?
Yeah.
Okay. With the knight and the lady and the abbot all together?
Well, in the office it was just the knight and the lady. There are 3 lower rank knights accompanying Notka's group, along with the cloaked man and the lady.
Okay. I think before we embark upon that, I am going to try and whisper to the spirits again. I have another spell that might be useful here called Oracle. I can ask 3 yes or no questions with a 3 out of 4 chance of an answer having been presenting.
Yeah.
So perhaps we can suss out what 3 questions I might want to ask.
Yeah.
Is there any, if we can consult the spirits, what do you guys want to know beforehand, or what can we try to learn? Perhaps is the abbot a force for good? Yes or no? Or is the abbot a force of evil? Yes or no? That might be an option. I don't know. What do you think?
Yeah, that's a good one. It's probably better than asking if he's undead.
So, is the abbot a force for evil, or is the abbot evil? Is he an agent of evil? Yes.
Yeah, that's about right.
Okay, so that's one of them. What else?
What rank is that spell?
It's a rank 4 spell.
Okay.
Oracle.
Okay.
James, did you say that was it likely that the knight and the lady and the grey cloaked gentleman are going to be at prayers as well?
They'll be at the meal, certainly.
They
may or may not be at the prayers.
Okay. Is the prayers first, then the meal, isn't it?
Yeah.
Okay. Just I wanted to try something with the figure in grey, that were all, but I'll need to get closer to it. Wanted to try the old assessment that I just learned on level 6.
Yeah.
How about another question I ask? Is we've been touched or blessed by the swords of Valandar, yes? We know that we've somehow been minorly empowered or otherwise fated to become heroes, or at least to do great deeds, yes?
Yeah.
So that would imply maybe an overarching fate. So are we destined to restore this place to its true character? Maybe that's too open-ended.
It's form of glory.
It's also destined. Destined is a loaded term too.
Yeah.
Okay.
So you can, what are the things that we want to know? Brother Abbas, the relic, and that group of nobles, right? So you could ask yourselves, do these have to be yes or no questions?
Yeah, they're yes or no questions.
Yeah, though you may
Okay.
not get a yes or no answer.
Yeah, and it's a 3/4 chance to get the answer at all. So
Right. So you could ask something like are the bones of Saint so and so are they here? Are they at this monastery, or did I see them? I'm trying to say, like, are the bones real? Something along those lines. Then you could ask one question about the nobles, something along the lines of, like, do they have, ill intent? Do they bear ill intent? Because you really want to ask, like, what are they hiding?
Right. I believe Brother Abbas already got a sense that there was nothing holy at all there. So if holy bones were present, would Brother Abbas be able to sense them regardless? Would there be an energy in and around the entire area, or would he need proximity for that?
You need proximity here because the monks seem to be on the level, and so they infuse the area with a certain degree of holiness.
So perhaps I should ask, was there ever a true relic ever stored here? Or ever honored here?
That's a good one.
Okay. So is the abbot a force for evil? Or is the person we believe is pretending to be the abbot a force of evil? That way it's not potentially the dead dude in the ground who, he's not, he's dead, right? Because that's the abbot.
Right.
And then was there ever a true relic of the faith kept here? And then the third question, the knight is, I have to write this name down again. I'm so sorry.
Notker.
Notker, N-O-K-N-N-E-N-O-T, Notker.
Yeah.
Is Notker, is he a true knight? And by true, I mean, is he an honorable knight? Is Sir Notker an honorable man? That's what.
Yeah.
Or you could ask, is he here for the reasons he presents?
Ah, yeah. Is Sir Notker here for his stated reasons?
Okay.
And what was his stated reason? Can we go over that? What did he say he was here?
Just
check on the abbey, what they
he
need?
said it to check on the abbey and to make sure they had everything they needed, basically.
Okay. So is Brother Notker's purpose for being here true, as in true and good and faithful and so on?
So have you settled on your 3 questions?
Yes, I have.
Which method of divination do you wish to use?
Perhaps I could use something innocuous like reading tea leaves.
Yep.
Okay. I'll note down the magic point expenditure here. 1, 2, 3, 4.
Okay, so you set out 3 cups of tea, though true Eastern tea hasn't been imported yet, so it'll be some kind of herbal rubbish.
Witchwood tea.
Stingy. Right, you drink the first cup, bearing in mind the question, is the abbot a force for evil?
Yes.
The tea leaves don't really form any particular shape that holds any particular meaning to you. It just seems to be kind of vague.
Vague. Okay.
So the second question, was a true relic ever stored here? The tea leaves have formed an almost perfect circle, like a halo, in the bottom of the cup.
So yes, at one point there were there was a relic here. Okay, that's clear.
And is Notker here for his stated reasons? Again, vague. If you squint slightly and hold the cup at an angle, it kind of looks like a sword, but yeah.
Kind of looks like a sword. Well, that would imply to me wrath or justice of some sort, or mind you, a sword is a symbol of a knight, and that might be that he's a true knight. Yeah, I'm iffy on that one. Okay, gents, what do you think about those answers?
Vague and uncertain. Two of them, anyway.
The onus then is going to be on you guys, perhaps, maybe to suss out a little more about the abbot.
Mm-hmm.
Well, not the onus, but I think maybe one of your ideas might pop up. So if Yannick, you're going to speak with Sir Notker and his companion, Lady Mary, was it, or Marianne?
No,
You have it the other way around.
yeah.
Oh, sorry.
Abbas was going to delay the abbot while Yannick investigates the abbot's house, and then you were going to eavesdrop or try and spy on the other group. So, switching to the abbot's house, Yannick doesn't have any lockpicking skill or anything. Do you have any spells that will open a door, or?
Let me take a look. No, I don't have anything that's going to open a door for me, so I'll have to find an open window or be creative.
You might be able to prise open a window.
Yep. Well,
Okay.
that's what I'll do, but I'll cast I'll cast warning so that if anyone sort of approaches me while I'm doing this, at least I'll have an opportunity to hide.
Yep. Okay. So you make a quick invocation and get a sort of situational awareness of the area around you, and then prise the window carefully open. Roll a d20 equal to or under your strength.
Very good. That would be a fail.
Okay. You get the window open, but you've damaged the shutter in so doing. So there's some splintered wood. It's not too obvious, but if anyone goes looking to see if anyone's been creeping around or breaking in, they will notice it.
Fair enough.
But you're able to slip in. Okay. It's not a very big building. There's the roof is open, like there's no attic space, there's just beams. There's the little library office. There's the abbot's sort of personal bedchamber, and then there's a novice sort of not novice, a modest sort of drawing room almost, for him to sit and do whatever during the day. That's really about it.
All right, so the library office. Well, I guess what was the room that we were in that we encountered that book that was emanating?
That was the library office.
Great. All right, so I'm going to beeline it for there, but not before I cast camouflage on myself.
Okay, I think that's all your magic points.
That it is.
Yeah. Okay, you creep into the office. There's the desk there, all the sort of ink and writing supplies, a good supply of parchment. There's some papers out on the tables and a ledger, and then there's the library shelves. I mean, he's got copies of the Holy Book and various others. Some of them look like old ledgers or records from the Abbey. Others seem to be books of faith and so forth.
Right. All right, so I'm just going to beeline it to the evil book.
Okay. You think you've got the right one. You pull it out of the shelf. Like a lot of valuable books, this one has a strap and a padlock on it.
Right. Well, son of a bitch. All right, well...
You might be able to prise up one corner of the book to be able to see some of the writing in the sort of top or bottom hand corners.
Yeah, because that's probably a little bit more judicious than just cutting this thing open, because I really don't want to take it. I really don't want anybody to think that anything happens here.
Yeah.
Whatever I can do to try to read a little bit of this thing. I'm going to focus more on headings than the actual contents, because the last thing I want to do is to read truly evil stuff.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. All you can really see is a snatch of words here and there in the top right hand corner and little sort of pieces of illustrations. Can you make a psychic talent roll? So 13 or under.
Sure thing. 20.
You can't decipher this at all. It seems to be the arcane tongue, so a magician or a sorcerer's writings, or even a warlock's writings. But you can't make out what it says. You need to see more of the page in order to really decipher what the hell it's on about.
All right, I'm gonna leave that book for B. Let that book be for now. And I just want to take a quick search around this study. Kind of want to actually. I just want to see if there's any secret doors anywhere. Like maybe this bookshelf reveals something.
Okay, make a d20 roll equal to or under your perception, which is 5.
That would be a 14.
Okay, you don't find any secret doors or any passages or anything like that in here. There doesn't seem to be anything.
All right. Guys, are you going to hate me if I take this book? Because I could fuck up this whole adventure. I'm sorry. Sorry for your audience. Mightily mess with your adventure.
You can say fuck. It's not monetized channel.
I am not going to weigh in on that because that's a decision you'd have to make totally on your own.
Son of a bitch. All right.
If my character were present, I'd happily give you my advice, but you are the boss right there.
Fair enough. Okay, so this is what I'm going to do, Grant.
Yeah.
This is what I'm going to do. I'm going to do the best I can to just try to read the first page of this book, and even if I can't make heads or tails of it, I just want to memorize it.
Okay.
Right? I'm just going to try to use my brain to memorize the first page of this book, or the first thing that looks like it's actually a title or a chapter heading, and that's it.
He probably won't miss one piece of parchment from the pile of parchment that he's got here. And he's got plenty of writing supplies, so you can copy down some of it, even if you don't understand it.
I'm glad you timed in with that. I was going to do that.
Oh, thank you. I'm sorry. I'm a little off my game today. I don't know. I'm just not. I'm just not on it, man. I don't know. Yeah,
you're on it. That's okay.
That's a really good. That's a strong idea.
I think it would occur to you.
I will do that. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, I will.
Okay. And then
out something.
Are you doing anything else? You going to check out the rest of the building at all? Or?
Yeah. I mean, he's got his own bedroom, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So I'm gonna run up there and see if I can find anything interesting. But I feel like time is short, so I don't want to. I'm going to be focusing a little bit more on. Well, no. I'm just going to go up to his bedroom. I don't want to talk anything over in haste.
Okay. Can you make another perception roll, please?
Sure thing. 13 this time. I only failed by 8.
Okay, you don't find anything secret, really. But when you pop open his sort of personal chest or coffer or whatever it is,
Right.
There are women's clothes beneath the monks' habits.
Of course there are.
And and on the side table, hidden beneath a sort of towel or flannel or something for washing his face, there's a handful of bloodied rags.
Really? All right, I'll take.
Oh my!
I'll take one of them.
Okay.
Because I'm just gonna guess that maybe one of our wizards can do some kind of divination and trace one thing to another. Okay. And then does he have like a bed stand or anything like that?
Yeah, you root through that, but don't find anything in there.
And then I'll just tuck my hands across the bed. Maybe there's something underneath the mattress or whatever. Or in the mattress.
No.
I'm not gonna rifle it open.
Yeah.
Okay.
So the only other room was the drawing room type area.
Yeah, I can. Yeah, I mean, how long have I been in here so far? Probably.
You might be pushing it a little if you stay any longer, but only a little. It's only a small
Yeah, I don't really want to push it, to be honest. I think it's time for me to get out of here. Not in something that's this socially delicate, you know?
Okay. So you scooch back out the window and close it up behind you, push the splintered wood back together as best as you can, and then slope off.
Yeah, and make sure I didn't, cut myself and leave any blood on the window on my way out. If I did, we'll clean it up, you know?
Okay.
And then it'll be off.
So yeah, Abbas engages the abbot in debate over scripture. Can you make an intelligence roll for Abbas, please?
Yep, passed. Rolled a 9.
The abbot's a bit weird. He seems to have more esoteric knowledge of the faith and its beliefs than common knowledge of the faith and its beliefs. So, I mean, you're trying to talk about more rarefied interpretations and things, and those bits he's pretty much on point with, but when it's sort of more regular daily prayers, the kind of common knowledge that the peasants and so on might hold, he's hesitant and sort of lets you speak and just sort of nods along, whereas when you're talking about the more obscure and rarefied interpretations and so forth, then he can't help but show off.
And a growing sense of unease from him now.
Right, and during the meal, Caradon was going to sort of sidle closer to the other party and listen in on their discussions.
Yes, I will try to be polite, to be seen and not heard, smile when it might seem appropriate. If there's a chance for me to interact with a few other women and just kind of provide and maybe seek from them a sense of camaraderie as people kind of out of their place. It like I'm not really expressing that very well. What do I mean? Like let's say you go to a birthday party and then you find out someone else is a game geek too. Oh, and you hang out a bit.
Yeah.
Well,
And there's not many women around, so yeah, you're sort of using that as an in with Marion.
Yes.
She's quite aloof, in spite of that, but you do have a certain amount of commonality with each other. She's maybe sort of mid 30s once you get a closer look at her. No wedding ring, which is unusual in a woman of that age. Her hair is greying at the temples in that kind of dramatic horror host sort of hairstyle. It's quite severe. You don't get the impression that she smiles much.
Does she have any odors about her that would be associated with any spell components I would recognize, or any calluses on her fingers that might indicate that she scribes scrolls or writes undue amount for someone of her presentation?
No.
No. Okay. All right. I'm not going to push it at all, other than just some small talk or so on. I'll ask if she knows about any a supply perhaps nearby for any herbs or picked plants or so on that would be used for personal hygiene, that might need to be replenished on the road, kind of in a roundabout kind of way.
The monks have a fairly well-stocked apothecary, which may have what you seek. Otherwise, there are wise women in many of the local villages if you have particular needs.
I'll just kind of try and make it appear very absent-minded, as if I'm just kind of favoring a little bit of a cramp on one side. Thank you kindly. And I'll allow her to go on her business while I linger about with a bit of bread or this or that, or warm my bones by the fire, or just try and be unobtrusive. If there's an opportunity for me to eavesdrop upon any of her conversations with anyone, I'll try, but this is not my area of expertise. So at the first signs of guardedness from them, or any serious, like pull away and talk in the shadows, I won't follow them like it's a Hollywood movie.
Yeah. They don't give away a great deal. It seems like they're definitely staying tonight, but hope to be away tonight or by tomorrow. Leaving tonight would be a bit odd. I mean, if you've got shelter and a bed, you'd want to wait till the morning to leave, so that may be a significant slip.
The fact that they are considering leaving tonight, but then they go back on that and say, no, let's stay another night.
They seem to be kind of going both ways on it, depending what happens tonight.
Oh, okay. So I'm able to overhear that. All right. Do they mention a further location? Are they riding out from Sir Notker's holdings? Is he a noble that holds land near here? Has he been charged by his own liege lord to do this, perhaps?
He has lands relatively nearby, but he doesn't mention his lord or anything else. You think this must be some sort of personal mission, perhaps? The way they were talking about it before, it made it sound like they were here on sort of a regular duty, sort of checking in on the abbey and seeing if they needed anything and ensuring they were all safe. But these conversations that you're hearing make it sound more like this is a personal errand. But they all seem slightly grudging about it, like they want this to be over despite the hospitality. I want to get back to my own bed. I'll be glad when I've discharged this duty and I'm free of it, that sort of thing.
I will try to, as I wander out and about, I'll try and find one of the younger brothers, maybe someone new to the abbey, who might be a little more tempted by a few moments of idle chat with a lady. And I'll express, if I am able to track someone down like that, I'll express a very mild interest in devotional poems, and I'll try and work in heraldry to that, and then see if he can pipe up or chit chat or share any knowledge he might know about Sir Notker in an attempt to maybe prolong the conversation with a lass, and maybe pump him gently for information like that.
He's a calligraphy geek. That's
okay.
That's his thing. So he's perfectly happy to take you through to the scriptorium and show you how they make the inks and how they lay the gold leaf on the page. In a way that nerds often do, he goes into perhaps too much detail, to the level that might disgust someone, because one of the important ingredients in some of the ink is earwax. And he shows you a tiny little spoon that they use to scoop it out of the brother's ears for use. You do manage to steer the conversation towards heraldry, and he seems a bit nonplussed by Notker's presence. He takes you through the various aspects of the heraldry on the Knight's Shield, and while the abbey does fall within his lord's territory, it's normally Sir Cedric who comes by to check on them, and Notker lives on the far side of the Lord's territory, so he's had to come quite a long way out of his way to visit the abbey.
Do Sir Cedric and Sir Notker both serve the same liege lord? Or is Sir Cedric... Okay, they do.
They do, yeah.
Now, when you said nonplussed, I know of this word, but I don't remember its exact meaning. It could go either way for me. Nonplussed means he's a little...
confused, double take, like, why?
Okay. And that's with Notker's presence instead of Sir Cedric, not with Notker's heraldry? Okay.
No.
All right. If I know any tips about helping to make ink a little more permanent, or for my own scribing or so on, I'll just drop a little hint for him. I'll suggest he try a certain ingredient to alter the color a little bit, just to give him a little bit of
there's a few skills that are transferable from scribing scrolls to scribing scripture. You have to avoid the things like unicorn tears and wyvern blood, but there's a few tips you can give him.
And actually, knowing about earwax, yeah, I may know about something that helps to produce a particularly gummy version of it. Who knows? But okay, so all right, I'll thank him, and I'll try and ease off the conversation naturally. And I may ask, where might I find? And I'll just kind of very subtly, but like indicate, like, just I've got a bit of a belly cramp. Where might I find one of the friendly or wise women in the nearest village? I might have to get some tea from her.
He's completely oblivious to lady troubles, but he says, "Oh, there's an old woman, a midwife in Rockbridge, a couple of miles down the track. Might be able to help you." But
I'll okay. I'm sorry.
But
go ahead.
we have supplies in our apothecary if you need anything.
Well, do you have any reason to bring victuals to her or gather? Might I have an escort of a brother or two to maybe point me to the way?
We're supposed to keep away from such pagans, but my mother always swore by it.
Thank you very much. I will. I'll let her know. Tell me again your name and your mother's name. Perhaps she'll have a happy memory come back to life. If he tells me the names, I'll just put them in my mind.
Yeah. Brother Elfric. And his mother is Susan.
Okay. I'll make a polite withdrawal and then rejoin my peers.
Okay, so conflab, next moves. You find somewhere private to have a chat.
All right.
Perhaps using the excuse of going to see the wise woman to be away on the road and talk quietly.
Yeah, actually, that's quite ideal. How would you guys like to accompany me? Perhaps we can chat a bit with her, and then we can maybe. Okay. Yeah.
Right. It's still very warm. There's still the strong wind from yesterday, but the track is quite sheltered by trees growing on either side. So tall and so spread out that they join above you quite often on the track, making it like a green tunnel. The air is very heavy feeling, to the point where it's hurting your sinuses a bit and giving you headaches. Feels like a storm's going to break anytime soon.
You're almost describing, except for the storm break, the weather here in Windsor. It's 100 degrees outside today, for crying out loud. It's terrible. All right. As far as I know, gents, Sir Notker is here kind of grudgingly. He's not happy about being here. He's taken over, I guess, inspection duty or a wellness check from one of his other peers, Sir Cedric, who is normally the one who comes here. Sir Cedric's lands are even closer to the Abbey than Sir Notker's own lands. So I wasn't able to find out what has happened to Sir Cedric. Perhaps some of the folks in the nearby villages or the village we're going to may know. They may have heard a bit of rumor. There's a wise woman in the village as well. She may know of any changes to the local unseen world, as it were. That will be my tack in perhaps speaking with her if she's still alive even. What did you learn, gentlemen?
So in the abbot's room, there's a pile of women's clothing underneath his own robes. I have no idea what that is. And I also found tell me if I'm wrong, Grim,
Yeah.
bucket of bloody rags, and I took one.
It was more like just a handful of bloodied rags.
Fair enough.
And you took one.
Yeah. And I also copied a page from that book that we noticed at dinner. And I have it with me. I couldn't make heads or tails of it. Perhaps you can. So I have no idea. The abbot certainly has something to hide, but I couldn't even begin to imagine what that might be.
While I was speaking with the abbot about the faith, I did get a sense that he knew some of the more esoteric parts of the faith when we were discussing it. More simpler things like what the peasants believed in and things like that. He just seemed to just nod and agree with me. He didn't have any input. But when I got onto the more esoteric aspects of interpretations of the faith, he really he knew a lot. He seemed to show his knowledge off to me.
So he has then a deep book knowledge and not a practical, a practitioner's knowledge then, yes?
I'd say so, yes.
Okay. Jared, your character also saw something else in the room that ties in with the blood-soaked rags. You haven't specifically mentioned it, but there was ladies' clothing there, yes?
I did mention that.
Oh, you did? I missed it. I'm so sorry. Okay.
Oh, that's okay. Yeah, so I did find underneath his own garments there is ladies' clothing. So I don't know if this means that he likes to wear ladies' clothing for fun, and what that would mean, or if that means that, like, young, or if women have been abducted and murdered or something like that.
Oh, no. I think he may be a sorceress or a witch in disguise, a woman in disguise. That might fit if he has a cycle still. Now, if he were a woman of the abbot's age, there would be no monthly cycle for him to deal with, right? Would Carradine be able to recognize the color or odor or anything like that of these rags upon a slight examination?
Like when you examine the rag, the cloth's sort of bunched up here and there, like the knotted cloths that a lot of women use.
Okay, so it's definitely almost certainly for a woman's cycle.
Yeah.
Yes, gentlemen, it's this. He either has a mistress who menstruates, or he himself is a woman in disguise. I think perhaps. Oh, I almost forgot. Sir Notker and Lady Marion mentioned something about staying tonight or going early and not enjoying the hospitality here, depending on, quote, what happens tonight, unquote. So they may be planning something. But yeah, I suspect the abbot is perhaps either a witch or has trucks, trucks with visiting women now, and having the clothing underneath. Was it regular clothing, or was it like sexy time clothing?
I don't know. What did I see, Grim?
It was quite well-made women's clothing.
There you go.
Quite well made for a peasant, or quite well made as in a noble person or someone of means who's not exactly a noble would wear?
Someone of means, like a merchant or a skilled artisan.
Yeah, I'm almost certain then that the abbot is not what he seems. It must be a lady spell user of some sort. Perhaps the wise people know.
I'm going to go with the secretly a woman hypothesis rather than the having dalliances hypothesis.
It wouldn't be unusual for monks to have it away on the sly, but this is a fairly remote abbey, and you didn't get the sense that there were dalliances and so on going on. Probably the fact that there's pilgrims coming through all the time kind of puts the kibosh on any monks being naughty. So
yeah, that plus, I don't know, if this person doesn't seem like he has very much in the way of Epicurean tastes anyway. I don't know. Maybe the village wise woman might know who.
Brother Abbas,
what been around.
Yeah, she will know.
I'd really like to get you guys to just see if you can make heads or tails of this parchment. By the way, too.
I'll have a look see and I'll pass it off to Brother Abbas, or perhaps he can have a peek at it first. What do you think, Brother Abbas?
I'll have a look.
Okay. Can Brother Abbas make a d20 roll equal to or under his psychic talent, please?
Yep, roll the 1.
A 1.
Yeah.
Okay. These are just sort of vague scribblings out of the corners, but it appears to be a book of demonology.
Oh, this is very disconcerting. This page you've taken from the book, it appears to be a page from a book about demonology. So the abbot is clearly...
He's a witch!
Burn him anyway!
Does he weigh more than a duck? This is the important thing to find out.
Our own laden swallow.
I was just going to tie in the swallow bit to the duck.
Right. So yeah, with this bombshell of knowledge to mull over, you arrive in Rockbridge. It's a pretty small village near a fairly dense patch of old woodland. The people working here mostly seem to be pretty poor farmers, charcoal burners, that sort of thing. They direct you to the wise woman's house, which is a roundhouse, a hut in the old style, just inside the woods, up the track. So
before we go to the old woman's house, we should be on the alert for any signs in this village, and including the old woman's house, to see if there are secret demon worshippers here. For example, like a village charm turned upside down, or odd plants that are used in rituals, perhaps being cultivated in the nearby copses of trees, not just wildly gathered, but also not planted outside the front door, right? Like secretly being gathered or harvested or so on.
You don't see anything that smacks of demons, but they don't seem to be particularly devout in terms of the true faith. Their well is garlanded with flowers and straw dolls and things. There are wooden masks of animals hung over the doorways of the houses. There's no church or chapel here. They just seem perfectly happy, decent, normal folk, just slightly more pagan than the average. There's no weird plants or anything in the woodland, at least until you get close to the old woman's house. And there she seems to have cultivated a garden of various poisonous and or medicinal herbs and things.
Okay, I'll just note that to everyone. Have a look see in her garden. Keep your eyes peeled. Brother Abbas, I think it might be best if you chat with her first, perhaps on church-based business, and if she appears reluctant to speak with you, perhaps I can step in a little bit, one woman to another.
Okay. When you arrive, she's sat outside her hut, cross-legged with her skirts gathered around her, cooking something in an iron pot over a very small wood fire that's barely giving enough heat to cook whatever it is.
Greetings, old mother.
Old? It's the trouble with you priests, you don't know how to talk to women. Come, sit down.
I'm sorry, my lady. I do apologise.
That's better. I do like a polite boy. What can I help you with?
We were just in the area, really. We've been sorry, I've lost my train of thought. We've been assisting some. We've been escorting some pilgrims to the church nearby.
Yes.
Staying there.
All those celibate men. Such a shame.
Yes. I'm ashamed to say I can count myself among them.
There, dearie.
I just wish to speak to you on about a few things, really. How long have you lived in this village?
Ooh, all my life and then some.
And is the church nearby? I know you probably don't have a good deal to do with them, but has it always been here during your time in the village?
It's been here for my lifetime and will continue to be here after, I'm sure.
Have you ever heard anything strange or unusual about it?
They say there's magic bones that they have there. There may well be magic in old bones if people believe hard enough, or if the man who died or the woman who died was virtuous enough, but yeah, it's not my concern.
No. Have you ever heard anything, any rumours or anything distressing about the abbot that runs the church?
Well, they did say a while ago, some pilgrims that came through the village, that the abbot had a revelation and seemed like a changed man all of a sudden.
Do you know how long ago this was?
Yeah, must be... she grabs a handful of stones out of her satchel and sort of lays them out in lines on the dirt and moves them around back and forth. Exactly a year and a day ago. Exactly.
Just me and my compatriots here, we've been doing a little investigation of our own because I myself can sense magical auras, that kind of thing. And when we were in the actual chapel itself, I couldn't sense any sort of aura from the casket where the bones are said to be interred at all.
Well, plenty of people have told stories relating to those bones, so they had power somewhere, I'm sure.
But we've recently uncovered something rather distressing about the abbot as well. We don't think he's entirely what he appears to be.
Ah, well, who is?
True. But we don't think he's exactly a force for good.
Again, who is? She reaches into a satchel again, takes out a handful of chicken bones and throws them on the dirt and peers at them. You have a companion who reckons himself a good man, a man of God, but he's done terrible things in the name of goodness.
Would I be right in thinking she's referring to Sir Elaine?
Probably.
Yeah. I don't think she'd be thinking of like Kerridan or somebody else. What's
Sorry, go ahead.
What's not John, the other fellow that's dropped out on this session?
Caesaurus, the character.
Caesara. He's a thief, isn't he?
An assassin.
Sorry. Yeah. She wouldn't be referring to him. Oh.
Could be referring to him, but he doesn't regard himself as a good person particularly. No. So.
Plus, I think Sir Elaine fought in the Crusades as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's almost certainly Sir Elaine, the fellow with the fiery disposition.
Should call him Sir Elaine of the fiery temper, but not to his face. True, sometimes faith and it's not exactly black and white, is it?
No.
What was the nature of this revelation that the abbot had?
That their humility was a form of arrogance, and that sitting upon their wealth so much was not an act of piety when that wealth could be put to use, employing artisans, laying on lavish meals for their guests, aiding their own comfort as much as they could feel comfortable in so doing. If they simply sat upon their wealth, then it did no good in the world.
I can't see anything innately evil about that kind of a revelation. It's for their benefit and for the benefit of the guests.
Yeah, and it just happens to also benefit the abbot and the monks. Always beware of convenient revelation.
I've been in the abbot's chambers and seen the slight opulence of his room.
Is it truly opulent, or is it approaching opulence?
Well, I'd say it's A step up from what a normal abbot would have.
Yeah, the rugs and the wall hangings were very rich, but the true value was in the books. They were worth more than their weight in gold.
I wonder then who he's buying these from. I'll tug on Brother Abbas's shoulder, and I'll look over at the older lady, as if she's quite senior to me. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Okay. I'll just kind of give her a little bit of a deferential look, as if I'm not quite sure if I should be the one speaking to her or not, and I'll just whisper in Brother Elaine's ear, and I'll look her in the eye while I'm
Brother
whispering.
Abbas.
So she, Brother Abbas. Oh Jesus, I'm so sorry. I have a terrible memory for
it's all right.
names.
Jack's not here, so someone else has to get all the names wrong.
I'll whisper in Brother Abbas's ear, and not so loud that she can't overhear me if she wants to. But Brother Abbas, I think we should inquire about where he purchases these items of beauty and wealth from. That might be an important clue.
I thought you can ask if I should ask where he gets ladies' clothes from.
If he kind of mock whispers that back to me, I'll look back at her to see if she's watching our exchange, and if she kind of warms a little bit to it, is it, yeah, sure, I can talk to you about that.
She covers her mouth with her hand, but kind of you can hear a subdued cackling coming from behind her fingers.
I think you might be right. I'll just kind of step back and kind of undress myself of that meeker manner of sorts, and let my earned confidence kind of settle into my frame a little bit, and I'll wait for Brother Abbas to finish his discussion. I'll very clearly just with my hand indicate continue if you would, and I'll wait my turn.
We've discovered, like I said, we've discovered something a bit distressing about the abbot. We have a page from a book from his study, and it appears to be a book about demonology. It's not something I'd really think a holy man would possess.
True demons, or just the old gods that they called demons?
I only have a page to go on, so it's hard to say.
Show her.
I'll nod assent to what Yannick just said.
All right, she peers at the pages and looks a bit grave. I think you should return to the abbey and put paid to whatever skullduggery lies within. I'm afraid I cannot be more hospitable, but seeing this, I have preparations to make to protect the village.
Can you give us a little more information?
There are dark forces at work. This storm is coming. It is a year and a day since the abbot's revelation, and tonight is a new moon.
Of course it is. I was going to ask Grim if there was any ritual significance of a year and a day. Oh, heavens.
Now, this doesn't happen to be a gibbous mood, does it? That makes me uneasy. I don't know anything about moon phases.
No, a gibbous moon is when it's more than half full. So a new moon's like no moon at all. So.
Gotcha. Okay. Well, all right. Well, I have no magic, and something horrible is going to happen. Let's get ready.
The old woman, before she heads off, she springs up, heads over to Yannick, and presses a little straw doll into his hand. Here, take this.
Thank you. What is it?
Protection. John, yes, the magician's fan will work for Yannick, but
okay.
I'll
move to that in a moment.
Yeah, it takes an hour.
Just remember, my friends, we could always overcome it simply with faith, heart, and steel.
Indeed. I will offer her. How valuable is an elixir vitae?
Very. It can bring someone back to life. So.
Okay, I'm going to. Oh, do I even have that with me, or is that in my? What's on my mule? Crikey!
You'll have your meal with you, I would have thought.
Oh, okay. I will gently unpack one of those, and unfold it from its silk wrapping and whatnot, and show it to her, and I'll try to read her body language to see if she recognizes it.
She definitely does.
I will then very clearly, with my body language and a humble approach, just offer it to her and say, thank you for your help.
If things go badly, come here.
We will. Us and any of the deserving to accompany us?
Yes.
Understood.
Right, so presumably you head back to the Abbey.
Yes, the magician's fan, Jared, your character. I'll hand a fan over to you. It's from the pyramid, is it not, Grim?
Yes.
Okay. If you meditate with this, you will find some of your energies restored. Hold on to it for the time being. When you feel you don't have any need of it over the next few weeks, return it to me.
Yeah.
And Jared, what it does, it allows you to enter a 1-hour trance and regain 2d4 magic points. So perhaps we can dally along the way before returning to the Abbey, just for an hour for you to see if it works.
Yep, you can have all your magic points back if you choose.
Sounds
to do
great.
So. Okay, so yeah, you stop a short way off the track. Fan yourself. It gives off smoke and perfume, and you sink into a trance for an hour, at which point your occult energies are restored. So, returning to the Abbey, what is your plan? I mean, you can't just march up and stab people, much as you might like to.
Brother Abbas and Yannick, I think we should risk taking Sir Notker into our confidence. What do you think? Unless he's, depending on what happens tonight, they could be involved in what may be happening tonight, some dark ritual, or perhaps they're here to stop it or even see if it's happening. Or I think we should maybe investigate that just a wee bit more.
I'm not convinced going to Synodka would be any benefit, really. I just have a bad feeling about him. I think he might be involved in this somehow. I don't think we should reveal anything to him about what we've found about the abbot.
Should I perhaps then try to read whether or not he is stained with any energies one way or the other? Perhaps I can read his aura from afar?
I did get a sense that he has some magical amulet or something on him when I was in the room with him, but that was all I could really determine.
Let me check the range on this spell.
Is it worth it if you might need your energies for a battle?
Yeah, that is a good question. Well, is this even a first level spell? I wonder. Let me check here. It's level 2. Let me look. Well, it is a new day, and I've only cast... I cast the Oracle today. That's 4 points I have down. If I used that, that would be 2 more points, leaving me with about 3/4 of my energy. I think reading his aura is is an investment worth making. Let's see if we can do this stealthily, though. Let me check to see an aura. Doesn't give me a range, so that will be up to the DM.
I guess it's a line of sight then.
Okay. So yeah, then if I guess, is there a shared noontime meal that we'll be attending or anything like that, or the evening meal? I guess.
You probably missed lunch actually, though the monks will be happy to get you some bread and cheese and so on.
Why don't I try and read the aura then during the evening meal? I'll slip off into a side door before entering. I'll kind of come last, as it were, make the invocation secretly, and then try and read his aura and her aura as I make my way to our...
So spend the points.
Done?
Then as you make your way over to your table, you can see the glow of a magical amulet, and there seems to be... his aura is slightly muted, almost as if there's another aura imposed over the top of it. And the same is true for the hooded man, and for Marianne, and for the knights that are accompanying them. So they all share some sort of overlaid enchantment. The man in the hood, he's also carrying several artifacts of considerable mystical power.
Can I sniff them, as it were, for any identifying goodness, badness? Do they have any domains of power that I can sense?
His black hat has shadowy magic around it, so an aura you would associate with stealth or illusion.
Okay.
There is a scroll in a case attached to his backpack, which radiates a lot of power, and seems to be connected by some sort of silvery thread that runs off into, past anything you can see. So it seems to be linked to some location far away. Also in his pack, it seems that there's a box of some kind that is scintillating with powerful but random magic.
That astral thread, as it were, that's my supposition, at least as a lifelong gamer, of silvery thread off into the expanse. What could that signify? Is that something I know about sorceress magic or clerical?
It could be linked to a location. It could teleport or allow scrying of that one particular location, or some kind of transportation or perception magic.
Do any of the men-at-arms have faces that have been etched over many years of their profession? Faces that would indicate they have committed, barbarous acts of atrocity in the Crusades, or more saintly, noble endeavors as protectors. Is any of their character cast in their faces? Any of them?
They're all slightly scowling, but they look like fairly sort of stolid, reliable sort of men who can you can trust to get the job done, sort of thing. Men of loyalty and duty is the sense you get from them.
What of the hat wearer and Sir Notker and Lady Marianne?
Well, Marianne you've already talked to quite a bit, so you've got a sense of her already. Notker, he's a puzzle, because his face is sort of crestfallen and weary, but when you look at the lines on his face, he looks like a man who used to smile and laugh a lot but doesn't anymore. So the lines on his face suggest a cheerful, happy, it's a noble man, but his face is fallen and strained now.
I understand. Thank you. I'll consider that and ponder while my mates perhaps have some questions.
As for the man in the cloak and the hood with the little black hat, he's fairly corpulent and piggy looking, and he seems nervous all the time.
Understood. That's enough for me to suss things out. Thank you.
So, there's the evening prayers, the evening meal, and then the abbey begins to shut down again.
Brother Abbas and Yannick, I think we should approach Sir Notker. I will try and I've paid careful attention to them during the meal, and if you look carefully at his face or cast your mind back to what you remember of his face, he was a much happier man than now. There's a weight on him. And his hatted companion has a few very powerful items of magic with him, including a scroll that seems linked to some far-off location. He's exceedingly nervous. Watch him move. I'd like to confide in that, but I'm not going to break faith with the two of you to do it.
How do you feel about following that silvery thread?
I don't know if I have the means to do that.
You get the sense it goes to a very far distant place. Like days of travel.
Okay.
Is Abbas on board with talking to Notka?
I still do have a bit of a sense of uneasiness about it, and I'm not convinced. Well, I suppose so, yes.
It's okay. If your reservation is deeper than you're comfortable, so like if you get a veto, right? I'm not going to break faith with either one of you to do this, but I think it might be a wise call. But again, it needs all three of us to okay it, and without recrimination.
See, if he does have some if he does have some weight on him, on his person, about something that's going to happen tonight, then maybe we can dissuade him from his course of action, depending on what it is, obviously. But yeah, I think you should go ahead.
Do you want me to approach him, or do one of you want to approach him? Perhaps he might respond differently to one of you.
Yeah, talk to him, Brother Abbas. I mean, if he's wavering and something bad's going to happen, you need as many allies as you can. If this is
also as a man of faith.
Yeah, if this is bad as we think, then we're screwed anyway.
It's just I felt one of you might like to talk to somebody, because I've done a lot of the talking while we've been here.
I'll do it if no one else is confident. But
I'm on a train, so you do it.
Okay.
We figured that from the background noise.
I didn't. I'm slow today. But yeah, go ahead. Go ahead, please. You're at least in my experience so far, and then this is an observation, not a judgment. When there's 3-4 of us are about, you tend to be a little less vocal than the others. So I'm quite happy just to step back and take center stage. Go for it.
Okay.
Okay, so you all going to see Notka, or just Abbas?
I think we should be nearby, but not imposing. So we can be included in a council if they invite us over. Perhaps a good 20 meters away, just at the edge of one of my defensive spells.
Okay, so yeah, you approach, and Yannick and Keradin stay back a bit while Abbas approaches. Notka and his party are just sort of standing around for the moment outside the guest quarters, talking with each other in sort of hushed tones with lots of gesticulation. As you approach, they fall quiet, and Notka steps forward. Can I help you, brother?
Sir Notka, yes. I trust you are well.
Oh, well enough. I think something in that fish this evening disagreed with me slightly.
Oh dear. I do prefer a nice bit of beef myself, if I'm honest, or some chicken. Never been a fan of seafood. Well, other than prawns, maybe.
So what can I do for you?
How long are you and your friends here planning to stay at the Abbey? Much longer?
I'm sure we'll be leaving tomorrow.
As I think, are we? I observed you at dinner this evening. You seem to have some weighty matter on your mind. Is there anything I could do to help?
No, I think a man should deal with his own problems. If he can.
I trust that whatever it is that's on your mind will not lead to any bloodshed or anything untoward that might damage the church.
What on earth would give you such an idea?
I don't know. I can sometimes be a very suspicious fellow, I'm afraid to say, Sir Knight.
Perhaps in an alternate universe, he points a clawed finger at me, Monty Python style.
Is there something you wish to talk to me about?
I have a sense of unease about the abbot. I cannot disguise it any longer. I have a bad feeling about him. that he's not what he appears to be, as far as I'm concerned.
I see. He turns to his fellows. You go ahead. I must confer with the brother here. They nod and begin to move off. He gestures inwards towards the guest room. Let's talk.
Can I come?
Are you sort of piping up and moving closer?
Yes.
By all means. What about your friend there?
I will nod my head politely and just step forward, quiet.
Okay.
Does Lady Marianne accompany us?
She's with his companions who are moving away.
Okay.
Right. He holds the door open and gestures grandly.
He wants us to enter first, I presume, yes?
Yeah.
Okay, that seems polite. I will go in last. I guess, Brother Abbas, you go first. You're leading the way, or Yannick?
Yeah, I'll go first.
How are you guys for time? It's coming up to when we normally finish, but...
Oh,
I'm A-okay. It's up to the DM, as far as I'm concerned. How do you feel?
I'm fine.
Okay.
I'm okay to go a bit longer.
All right, we'll keep going a bit longer then. Right, so yeah, you're ushered in to the guest chambers. These are a lot nicer than the pallets you've been sleeping on. They have proper beds, and it's divided up into little rooms. And you're sort of taking that in when the door slams behind you.
Uh-huh. And it's us trapped in the room?
Yes, and you're all trapped inside. And yeah, he's still outside from the looks of it.
Is there a window?
I don't suppose there a rattling of keys and he's like locked the door or something.
You do hear a rattle of metal, but it doesn't seem to have a lock.
This is where we could use somebody with big strength, like a knight, or possibly a warlock.
Oh shit!
Can Abbas and Keradan roll d20 equal to or under their perception, please?
Yes, I'll try. Nope.
Nope.
Okay. You hear someone speaking outside, but you can't make out what they're saying. And then you hear the heavy jog of footsteps moving away. So, what do you want to do?
I actually made that roll myself and succeeded. If you let me.
Sorry, I couldn't hear you.
I tried that roll and succeeded.
Okay.
That perception roll.
Sorry, yeah. So Yannick could make out that someone was chanting a spell. But not being of his tradition, he's not sure entirely what spell it was.
Someone cast a spell.
Damn.
So, what are you doing?
I'll quickly go to the door and try and vibe it. I'm not going to touch it. I'll just like put my hand near it, just in case.
Well, you can see an aura of enchantment around the door.
Okay. I think they've definitely cast the spell on the door, my friends. Is there any other way out of the room?
Casting your gaze around, the shuttered windows on either side of the main room or have a similar enchantment over them, as does the rear door.
Okay, time for me to take care of that. Is there any way for me to sense how much energy I need to use to dispel magic, or is it a blind bid? I've forgotten what we said.
It's a blind bid, but you can have some kind of idea of what may have been done. There's the list of spells. Nowhere useful. Okay.
Would detect aura be an analytic tool to use for that? What spell is cast and?
You shouldn't need it particularly.
Okay.
I'm just having a hard time finding the.
Okay, I'm going to go have a loo break. I'll be back in just a moment.
Okay, that'll give me time to look this up.
That's me thinking the night was.
The night was. Sorry, you cut out.
That's me thinking the night was actually going to give us a clue, tell us what was going on. But
Well, he kind of has.
yeah, he doesn't want us to get us killed. He's nice like that.
Okay, I found what I needed.
So one thing I actually found online today was I couldn't find anything for Dragon War. Is this online facility called the Trove? I think it is, where there's like old PDFs of like previous old RPGs.
Yeah, there's a lot of pirated stuff there, but it is good for
I found like
archived.
the old Ghostbusters stuff,
Yeah.
and some of the older Conan ones as well.
What, the Mongoose ones or the old TSR ones?
Both.
Yeah.
Both on there. Yeah. And a lot of Call of Cthulhu.
Yeah.
At the first game convention I ever went to, I think it was in Toronto way back in the 80s, we saw scrawled on a whiteboard somewhere, Cthulhu Cthux. It's probably stuck in my mind.
Okay, so you're back. Yeah. You think that probably someone has blocked all the exits using the portal spell. It's only a level 1 spell, so a level 2 dispel magic would probably lift it, or you could just break down the doors, which works just as well.
Well, we need a good strength score to break down the doors.
You would indeed.
Well,
I will expend energy.
I can actually cast something on myself to make myself a bit stronger.
I have a fair bit of energy left. I'll expend the necessary reserves of inner might to dispel the magic if I can with 2 points.
Yeah.
I'll attempt it.
Okay, you take a moment and unweave the magic from the door, and then it falls open before you easily.
All right.
You can just about make out the figures of the other party hurrying towards the church, disappearing into the abbey.
We gotta follow them.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right, I'll bring up the rear.
Right. You give chase. And it appears that they're heading down into the crypt beneath the church.
Midnight would be the ideal time to cast some dark, horrific magic.
Yes.
Are we anywhere close to that time?
Not yet, no.
So do they look like they're running, or are they just walking with purpose?
Since they shoved you into the building and locked the door, they're running.
They're running. Okay. Do any of them make out as if 2 or 3 are going to peel off and stand between us and the rest of them, or
No,
do they see us following? I mean, we're not hiding. I guess we're jogging and clinking and clanking or whatever.
Yeah, I mean, it took you a moment to sort of get your bearings and catch up.
Sure.
So they just they're disappearing down the steps into the crypt.
Should we cheekily call out to them, "Hey, wait for us," just or should we just?
We could surprise them if we follow them.
Okay, I'll hush.
Okay, so you follow
Do we
after
know
them.
any? Yeah. Do we know any alternate ways into the basement or the crypt?
You haven't really scattered around that much. So far as you're aware, that's the only way in. Okay, so
I mean, I hate to say it, but this looks like a just going with guns blazing kind of situation. I can't think of anything clever here.
You might be
Yeah.
right.
I think it's time for a bit of mono a mono.
all right. So you probably want Yannick and Brother Abbas in the lead, with Keradin following up.
Yes.
So the steps to the crypt go down at the side of the church, and then turn right, and go down some more steps. Ahead of you, at the bottom of the stairs, there's barely any light, but you can just about make out a shadowy figure standing in the corridor.
No torches on the walls or braziers with coals far down the hallway or anything like that?
No. Just there's not even moonlight, so it's the starlight and what's left of the lantern light from outside spilling down the corridor, and all you can see is this sort of kind of grey shape of a man.
Can I go back and fetch one of the lanterns?
You've all got a lantern, I think, so... But yeah, if you wanted to be quick, you could just dart up, grab a lantern off the hook.
Yes, that's what I'll do.
Yeah.
So we need light, and I'll go back and grab it.
Yeah. Okay, when you lift it, this man is still wreathed in shadow at the end of the hall. He doesn't seem to have moved. He just seems to be sort of standing there staring at you.
And does he look like can any signs of a face or so on, or like he's like a negative energy outline of like a living shadow man, or just?
Yeah, it's just a shadow like a silhouette, but you know your light's coming in from in front of it, so you should be able to see him. So yeah, it's just like a sort of negative space. You should be able to hear the others moving if they're still running, but you can't hear anything apart from your own sounds of laboured breathing and clanking of your gear.
Is that something that I've noticed in particular as a sorcerer, or everyone has noticed that as well?
Everyone has noticed that.
Okay. I'm going to just follow the lead of the 2 warriors ahead of me and respond accordingly.
I'm going to draw my bow and try and fire an arrow at him.
Okay. You draw your bow and fire. The arrow passes straight through him, but you don't hear it hit anything.
It's like a wall of shadow. Strange.
I wonder if it was meant just to deter people from popping down here willy-nilly.
I mean,
Right.
do you hear the arrow hit the wall behind?
No.
No.
I wonder if it's a portal then, or some kind of filter.
Getting the feel it's like cloak and dagger.
Draw your Valandar steel. Have at him.
I'll take a stroke.
Okay, so you move up the corridor, closer to the figure. It doesn't move the entire time. You lash out with your sword, but strike nothing. And your foot knocks a black hat resting on the floor. And when your foot knocks the hat, the shadow disappears. And beyond the doorway, you can see the crypt lit by torches. All of the members of that party are down here, seemingly at the very end of the crypt, along with a woman you don't recognize.
My instincts were totally wrong.
I take it.
I'll even nail that under my mouth. Like, oh, my instincts were totally wrong.
I'll take it. My arrow's nowhere in sight that I fired.
Your arrow is laying broken against the wall.
Okay.
So you sort of cautiously move past the shadow into the room together. It's quite a big crypt. There's a lot of stone sarcophagi and more simple sort of wooden coffins where brothers have been laid to rest, it seems. On the wall at the far end, between two bright burning torches, is an elaborate magical circle covered in glyphs and chalk. And laying on top of one of the sarcophagi in front of that are a bunch of bones.
Does it appear as if these are cult members gathering suddenly to do, like, they're not here to bust up the witch and the cult, they're part of it, yes?
So it would seem.
Sorry, guys.
The woman, who you don't recognize, has long, raven dark hair, and is wearing a wine-red dress with an elaborate belt. She gestures with a curvy, pointed dagger towards you and says, "There's hours yet until the ritual. Kill them so that we can do it uninterrupted."
Do I recognize this dress?
It's in the same style as the ones you saw in the chest.
Yeah. It's hello. What's the name of this head? What's the name of this? What's the bishop or whatever?
The abbot.
Right. Right. What was the abbot's name?
I don't remember.
Whatever. Well,
Yeah.
hello, Father Abbot.
Abbot Costello.
Yeah.
I was going to go there, but I didn't.
No, well, I mean, I think your guesses were totally spot on, other than what's his face being a wavering figure. But we made that decision together. You know, it's cool. So, I think it's time to put the pedal to the metal. Yeah.
Okay.
So, is there a choke point that we can get at so that we don't have to fight all of them at once?
There's a lot of these stone sarcophagi in the way. So there's a narrow path about 10 feet wide running up the centre. So hopefully you shouldn't have to face too many of them at once.
Yes. Well, I'll position myself appropriately and draw my sword. And kind of crouch a little bit so I'm not so easy.
Is there a doorway we can retreat through so that we can use ranged weapons, like we're in the inside of a castle wall, firing at a murder hole at them in that chamber?
You could take cover just outside the doorway and use it for cover, yeah.
Yes. Out the door! I can repel them with magic. Back up!
Okay, well, Notka is quicker on the uptake than most people here. So... Right.
That spell I chose earlier today, Grim, is almost ideal for this.
Notka draws his sword from his belt and comes charging down that central aisle towards you. The fat little mage moves to take cover behind one of the sarcophagi. The 3 knights move up.
That alone sounds fearsome. The 3 knights move up.
And they form a skirmishing line with Notka across the middle as best they can. Right, Yannick. You'll go.
All right. I'm going to cast 2 spells. I'm going to cast Inflict Harm on Naka. That's the one that makes him more susceptible to damage.
Yeah.
And after...
What's the range on that?
Let me look that up. I'm sorry. I'm not really sure I have ranges on my cheat sheet.
Tell me the name of the spell, and I'll look it up in the PDF. I have a wide, I got a big screen in front of me.
Sure thing. Just a second.
Yeah.
Sorry to be slow here. Well, it's on my character sheet, because if you have the document, you can look it up yourself, too.
Yeah.
What's the name of it again? The name of the spell, do you remember? Or what level of spell is it?
It's a first level spell. It's like the second one there.
Okay.
You got heal injury.
No, not that one.
Silent Warrior.
Imperil.
Imperil.
Yeah, that's the one that makes its victim
Yes.
take damage, extra damage from everything it hits.
It's an expiry spell. You must touch the intended victim within 1 combat round of casting. It's a touch attack. Damn.
Yeah. So not one for range, I'm afraid.
Okay. So
It's a good idea.
You could cast Fortune on yourself. That's a level 2 spell.
Right. Well, I mean, I'm in the front, so Yannick's. I mean, what's his face is Noctu is in the front too. So
yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, we're gonna meet anyway. So yeah, I'll go do the. Are touch attacks risky in this game?
They can be.
Well, I feel like we're going to be here for a while, so the faster we can get through the front line, the better, right?
Yeah.
So
I mean,
I'm just gonna go.
you can actually reach the front line with your movement.
Right. So there you go. That's what I'll do, and we'll see what happens.
Okay. So you can run up. Do you still want to do the 2 spells then, since you can get up to him?
Well, yeah. I mean, I'll run up and I'll do the 1 spell on him, and then my other spell, I suppose, will be the Silent Warrior.
Okay. Right. So what's your magical attack?
My magical attack is 14.
14. Okay. You need a 6 or under to affect him.
Alrighty, here we go. I rolled a 2.
Okay. Yes, you reach out with your offhand and manage to touch him on the arm. He seems a little surprised.
Very good.
So what's the effect? It's extra damage, isn't it?
Yes, it's whenever he takes damage, he takes an extra point of damage, I think.
Yeah.
If I understand correctly.
I think that's right, yeah. And your second spell was Silent Warrior?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so cross off the magic points for that.
Yep.
Phantasmal Warrior strikes with attack 18.
Yes, sir. Shall I roll?
Yep, you need a 6 or under again.
Oh, boy. That would be a miss.
Okay. So the Spectral Warrior appears, slings his sword at Notka, who wards it off with his own sword.
Okay.
Right. So
Tried, y'all.
yeah, that's you done. Okay, Keridon.
I'm having a look at a spell here, Phantasmal Claw. It's on my sheet,
Yeah.
but it isn't in the book that I can see. So, it's a rank 6 spell. Is it? Oh no, it says Is it? Where did I see Phantasmal Claw, or was that a?
It's from Mistress Edis's spellbook. So it was learned a while ago from
Phantasm. Acto. No, but I saw another spell. Oh, it's a level 5 spell, Phantasmal Claw. Yes. Attack 29. That indicates it's an almost a hit. Yes.
Yeah.
What's the range on it? I don't have that information here.
It should have been in there. Was it a rank 5? Did you say?
Yes, it's a rank 5 spell.
I think it's a 20-meter range. It's from one of the creatures, so we'll call it 20 meters.
Okay. If that's something I can cast at the sorceress, if she's within range, great. If not, I'll target Sir Notker.
No, she's in range.
I'll get her.
Right. So it's attack 29, right?
Correct. And I've
Right.
just marked
Don't roll a 20.
Okay. 17.
Okay, and damage.
This says D10 plus 1 armor bypass, D12 plus 1 damage.
Okay, don't need to worry about the armor, so just roll the damage.
Oh, 1 and 12. Oh my god. 10 plus 1, 11.
11
Oh,
damage.
Jesus, thank you.
Okay. All right, you lash out with the power of magic, and the claw appears in the air, a glowing blue set of talons, and just tears her throat out in one stroke.
Yes!
The entire rest of the party sort of stop mid-track and sort of clutch their heads for a moment and fall down to their knees.
Maybe they're just... Don't kill them all, wait!
Yannick stops with his sword held up in the air. Notker's the first to get up, and he groans and shakes his head and holds up his hand. Stay your hand. Stay your hand. It's done.
Put your sword down and tell me what's going on.
He tosses his sword to the ground. That witch laid an enchantment upon us, learned from some unholy book that made us her slaves, but free-thinking slaves. I've watched myself do and say things that disgust me, but I've had to do them to serve her.
That explains his weight. I'll even, just under my breast, that explains his weight.
Together they get up and stumble with you out into the light. Secured and saved, and the saint's remains can now be properly reinterred, and the truth can come out. It's a bit of an abrupt ending. I was not expecting you to go straight for her with such a powerful spell.
I'm so sorry to have... That's kind of a very unsatisfying denouement. We won, but it doesn't feel like we really won, right?
That very much feels like we won. Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
Look at my perspective. I'm a level 2 character.
Right.
Basically about to get like smushed, and I feel like, you know, like Samwise in one of those battles or something. You know, like, all right, we don't have a real warrior here today, so I'll just do my give it the old college try.
Yeah. Here's a frying pan. Do your best.
Yeah, that was ideal. I could think of no better way for that fight to go.
That was definitely
potatoes.
And that was definitely the good ending, because you saved all those people who were being mind controlled without slaughtering them. So, yeah,
I was going to mind bolt that night as well.
So that was good.
It also means that you were right about him being turnable, but not quite the way we expected.
Right. Yeah, it's very nuanced. I like the people who wrote these adventures. I hope
Well,
they write
I
more.
did rewrite that one quite heavily.
Oh, then bravo and thank you very much. That was quite enjoyable.
Cool. Right, we're over time, so I'm gonna call it there. I'll update your character sheets.
All right. Sorry about the ambience, guys.
That's okay. It's all good. Thanks for joining in. Yeah, so I'll update character sheets, and we'll see people again on Saturday. All right. Take care, everyone.
Bye-bye.
Bye.